think, number one, Tomakon is necessarily the fastest. I think being on the rail, obviously a good thing on this racetrack here, because he looks fantastic, as he typically does. But I think this is the right condition for him, for Dave Duggan. This 25 going the mile, I like the distance as well. So I think he's a horse that, yes, he's going to want to travel in the bridle a long way, because he's one that once he comes off of it, he tends to swim a bit. So I think at this level, he's able to do that, as he's just flipped over his favoritism. Number 5, Ironman Ira. I know, tough to take off of his last performance, but he kind of got bothered last time out. He was carried out by the leader. He had to steady back. Then he went forward again while 4 wide, just continuously losing ground throughout. He didn't switch leads through the lane there, which I didn't like to see. But look, he's forward, he's sharp, he's doing everything that a speed horse should be doing prior to a start. And against this field, he and Tomakon by far look the best, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. Favoritism not moving, well, as I say that, it does, to Tomakon, who becomes top choice on the inside.
Yep. Listen, I picked Tomakon. Those are my picks. I find it very hard to bet with confidence on biased racetracks, and especially when you're dealing with short-priced horses. I bet a few dollars on the 2. I'm very interested to see how he does, being claimed from a barn that won 1 race with over 130 starters last year. And the 5 is a faster horse early, but this horse is fast enough with a very aggressive ride from Severa, who, when he rides well, he rides aggressively, that I don't think it's impossible that he could be in front. And I feel like if he was able to get the lead on the inside, it would enhance the chances of Golden Purchase, but he is 1 for 46.
Pick 5 out starts here. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
And they're off. 6 Kings is trying to flash early speed from in between horses, also followed by Ironman Ira. And now Ironman Ira and First Trumpet, they're going to kick on. They're 1-2 as First Trumpet is out in the center of the racetrack. Ironman Ira is trying to move closer to the rail, and at the inside, here comes Tomakon. Is going to apply some pressure too. He's going to hold that rail position, so it'll be 3 across the racetrack as Tomakon is moving on through, and Tomakon now puts a nose in front. Right there is Ironman Ira to the outside, 23.42 for the opening quarter mile. 3 wide still First Trumpet. Here's 6 Kings, center of the racetrack, trying to move forward. He's being encouraged to get closer to the pace now here from 4th, and towards the inside, Golden Purchase, not far off of him either. As the group of 5 work up the backstretch, they're chasing Tomakon. Tomakon and Luis Rivera Jr. approaching a half-mile left to go, is hounded towards the outside by Ironman Ira. Ironman Ira is ranging up and now ready to challenge, and puts a nose in front through a 46.76 half-mile time. Under full drive, his First Trumpet is trying to cut into the margin. 6 Kings is trying to make up some ground. 6 Kings is just grinding away up on the outside, not cutting into the leader, Ironman Ira. Ironman Ira is trying to shrug off the challenge of Tomakon, who's towards the inside and battles on. Ironman Ira, but here comes Tomakon right back towards the inside, and Tomakon's got plenty. First Trumpet's rallying on 6 Kings. They're making up mile ground with a furlong left to go. Tomakon is trying to shrug off the challenge one more time from Ironman Ira, who just won't give in, approaching the final 16th. Tomakon is almost there. 6 Kings emerges towards the inside, but Tomakon, with a gutsy effort, will get the victory. 6 Kings up for second. Then came Ironman Ira, First Trumpet, then Golden Purchase in 1 minute 41 and 1.
Tomakon, the win as the 9-5 favorite. Betting public gets it right. 1-3-5 finish.
Yeah, and this was an exceptional ride by Louis Rivera, and really understanding the racetrack. Didn't break that sharply, but really sent him up inside the much quicker Ironman Ira. And there was a very astute comments by Maggie, who pointed out that, you know, dropping down in a situation like this, maybe she thought Louis would ride like that. And I'm thinking, I wish he would, Maggie, but he doesn't have the horse to do it. But she was dead right, and that's exactly what he did, and it really helped. They drifted in the stretch, which didn't help his chances, but at that point, the competition was so bad behind them. I mean, they were flying up front. 23-2 and 46.76 on this track is extremely fast. They came the last half mile in this race in a little over 44.5 seconds.
Wow.
They went the last, 54.5 seconds, excuse me. So they went about 7.5 seconds slower the second half as the first half. Yeah. Shows how fast the pace was. And if the closers couldn't come close in on these horses under those circumstances, while the track didn't help them, that was a bad performance by 6 Kings. Tomakon was best, but the track helped him and the ride was exceptional.
David Duggan, Trade Winds Farm, Luis Rivera Jr., and his 4-year-old son at Tapiture gets his second career win in 10 tries. Does so as the slight 9-5 top choice to kick off the late pick 5 on this Friday card.
And they're off at the Naira Benz Haskell.
In the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga.
Dornock setting up moderate pace, 3/4 of a length ahead.
As the field turns for home.
They're at it again. The two Belmont first and second place finishers.
Mind Frame on the outside. It's coming after Dornock.
Dornock wins the Haskell.
It will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stake.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at nairabets.com.
It's Mandaloon, and Mandaloon wins.
Back with you on our Friday action here on America's Day at the Races. Tomahawk with the victory. David Duggan Barn, favorite, starts off the late pick 5 of the Friday card for Trade Winds Farm.
Have you ever been to a Comic-Con, right?
Comic-Con?
Yeah, Comic-Con. I always think of that when you're a Tomahawk, right? Me either. It's hard to believe. I want to be at the Galaxy Quest. You've seen Galaxy Quest.
It's a tremendous movie if you've not seen it.
Was a great, fun movie. And of course, anybody that knows it knows what I'm talking about. But once again, I really, I know he was a relatively short price, but Louis Rivera made a difference. And when you see a rider like Louis Rivera that rides like that and does that, you hope that people take notice because these are riders that are paying attention. And listen, if you do the right thing on your horse and you lose, that's fine. But if you don't do the right thing and you lose, it's on you. And he did the right thing, and he should be commended for it.
$5.80 for the victory. As we set up race 6, by the way, who steals the show for you in Galaxy Quest?
Who steals?
For me, it's not even close.
Really?
Sam Rockwell.
Well,
Incredible.
He's great. Yeah.
Race 6, pick 4, 1.25 miles.
He's always good.
Allowance optional claiming field to cut the cord. We expected to be a short price is the one to beat.
Yeah, I mean, the one concern with him is you're dealing with a 1.25 mile race. And in a 1.25 mile race, it's a lot of time for a bias to work for or against a horse. And he's probably going to be stalking the number 3 in this race, who should be inside speed. I agree he's the horse to beat. I picked him, the number 5. But I worry a little bit. As a player, I always have concerns playing on racetracks that I perceive have a strong bias, and that's what we have today.
Yeah, the 3 Colomillo right now, back-to-back wins, trying for 3 in a row, but has a serious rival to try and keep that streak intact. Back at Oaklawn, 37-1 on Pittsburgh here. 1-5-2-3 finish.
If you had this one, you are a lot smarter than me, but I congratulate you. Even looking at him now, I don't know what there is to like, but this was that kind of race, right? That you have that sort of anything can happen factor, especially considering the poor performance by a horse like the 3 who got a very good trip and just really had nothing. But getting it done, tough beat for the 5. I think the Apprentice, the 10-pound rider, not maybe finishing as well as some others.
So Pittsburgh, 4th career victory. First time ever hitting the board at Oaklawn, and you get rewarded if you liked him today. 76-60 for the win. And luckily, if you're playing that cross-country pick 5, because I think most probably would not have used him, it starts in this race coming up. 6 furlongs, $75,000 claiming race, all for sale for that price for horses who have not won 2 lifetime. Complex Secret, Norm McKnight claims off a Ken McPeak, and as Fernando Haro aboard.
Yeah, I was looking up numbers on horses claimed from Ken McPeak, and I'm going to tell you, they're not good. Overall, they're just, whatever categories you're looking at, dirt and just in general, talking about ROIs around $1.20. I'm not taking a short price claimed away from Kenny.
3-2 favorite on that one here. We'll talk more about this field, get to the post parade in just a little bit. Again, it kicks off the cross country pick 5, which you can play on Naira Bets. Races 5, 6, and 7 from Hot Springs, and race 6 and 7 from New York. That's 6 at Aqueduct, about 22 minutes away, where we have an even money favorite right now, as we talked about with Cut the Cord, who is going to be, for many, probably in the pick 4 and maybe in this cross country pick 5. A key horse.
He is. Like I said, I like him. I picked him, but I don't handicap these races expecting to have a bias, and I'm concerned that he's one that will be against the track throughout the running of a 10-furlong race.
We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. 5th from Oaklawn. Still to come, there is the favorite, Complex Secret, off the claimed away from Ken McPeak. See if he can get it done, get his 2nd career win when we come back. Good to have you with us on this Friday afternoon here on Fox Sports 2. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, the MIG in Hot Springs, Maggie Wolfendale, all of us here as we get set for this 5th from Oaklawn Park. 6 furlong sprint, where that one right there, this filly for Norm McKnight, just claimed off a Ken McPeak, is the 8-5 favorite. A win to Breaker Maiden at Oaklawn. 2 starts to go in this race, January 3rd.
listen, to be fair, you're talking about a horse that the last 2 races is running speed figures that are faster than her competition. She's the horse to beat, though. I think Daisy Duke, the 8, ran well enough last time that she should be considered a major rival to her. I think the real question is, Norm McKnight, wins a lot of races, but it's not a good rider change. And good as Norm McKnight may be, claiming away from Ken McPeek is not an easy thing to do, and that concerns me here, especially when you're dealing with a heavy favorite.
So we'll look at some alternatives here coming up. Certainly the 8, Daisy Duke is taking some money for. We showed you those trainer standings. Ron Moquette having a terrific season in Hot Springs. He trains Daisy Duke, has Ricardo Santana Jr. We'll kick things off with, here in a moment, Millie Stardust, who is going to be trying Oaklawn for the first time, comes in from Delta Downs last start.
Right. I mean, this horse is 13-1 right now, and she feels like a 113-1 shot based on her PPs.
Next door, Swift win. Keith Asmussen for Dad.
Steve Ashton's numbers on horses going from synthetic to dirt, as this horse is, are pretty good. Problem is, this horse is another horse. It's just kind of a slowpoke.
Meanwhile, Alanis, this is one who had beat Complex Secret before she got on a run.
And the assistant to Peter Miller is training while he's suspended. The race 2 back makes her a contender.
Here's Square Baby going by at 9-1.
Yeah, unless you want a horse off the claim from Jacobson, she better move up a lot.
Favorite, Complex Secret.
Yeah, she's the horse to beat off her PPs, but I don't trust her.
Battle Shipper comes out of a couple of stakes races.
She has that second race at Prairie Meadows that was good, but I don't like her last race, even though it gets much better.
Daisy Duke, Ron Moquette barn.
I prefer her. If I had to bet, I would bet her over the favorite.
Just missed for third behind Complex Secret when they met last start. And then Baytown Butterfly, 11-1 outside.
This one interests me a little bit. Greg, I mean, was running races last year, hasn't run in 4.5 months, has a right to improve off some of the better numbers. The better numbers make this horse sort of a fringe player. And I think for me, looking at this race, I want to bet against the 5. And if I do, I don't see what's wrong with the 9. The 8 seems like the logical one, but the 9 feels like not impossible.
Yeah, certainly could move forward in her 3-year-old debut coming up. With more on this 5th to start this cross-country pick 5. Let's go to Mig.
Thanks, Greg. And we'll start off with the 5, Complex Secret, your favorite. She looks good. One thing you want to take note of, horses are going to sweat up a little bit today, and they should. I mean, it's warm enough, and particularly as cold as it was just a week ago, horses getting a chance to acclimate. And when they sweat, it tells you that their internal coolant system is working properly. I don't want to see a horse that's too dry on a warm day like this. She looks good. Norm McKnight's having a terrific meeting here, winning at about 17%, first time off the claim. I agree with Andy. I don't really want this horse at such a short price, but she does look good as your favorite. The 7, Battle Shipper, also making a nice impression. One of the things I struggle with, I talk about it with Maggie quite a bit, gray horses. How does their coat kind of translate with a gray horse? Well, I'm seeing that rich hydrated coat. I think she's making a nice impression, this daughter of midshipman. Certainly more of the Tappet influence from the female side of the family. And then the horse that would be my ultimate top selection, because she checks the boxes as far as what I see on paper and what I like from a physical standpoint, and that's number 8, Daisy Duke. Ron Marquette for TriStar Farm. We know TriStar Farm in New York, Doc Sullivan. Ron's having a tremendous meeting. His horses look good, and they're running to their looks, and I think she is a major player here with Ricardo Santana from the outside.
Mig, thank you. There is the Ron Moquette filly. Daisy Duke's at 3-1 right now on a logical alternative play to the favorite as we get back to New York. 1.25 mile distance coming up here in race 6, and again the favorite 6-5. Cut the cord, was off from August to late January, just missed in that comeback effort. That was at a mile.
He ran the best race he's ever run last time, because this was a race that really basically fell apart except for him. And he was battling the whole way and nailed at the wire by Lock and Key, who's been in very, very good form before taking a step back in our stake the other day. But he ran well at 1 1/8 miles up in Saratoga when he won by a nose over a neural network. Now that's a number that is a little hard to buy on the surface of things, but came back and legitimized it last time, so distance shouldn't be a question. If this were a fair racetrack, or at least I felt it was a fair racetrack, I think he was overwhelmingly the horse to beat, as the public does. I worry a little bit of him stalking the 3, but I still think he's way the one to beat.
Well, Maggie, he's the favorite. He's a deserving favorite. How does he look here second off a 5-month layoff?
He looks exceptionally well, Greg. Cut the Cord is a horse that, typically more in those summer months when it's warm, he will have the propensity to get a bit washed out, a bit hot under the collar, but maybe with some maturity now, being a 6-year-old, he's actually rather settled relative to what I've seen from him in the past. And physically, he looks fit, he looks strong, and I thought his last race really good off of the bench, as you guys kind of alluded to. I mean, he was pressing the pace throughout. The winner came from behind that day. Now, look, he is a horse that I think Kendrick Carmouche has really kind of figured out. Obviously, he's very familiar with him, but you have to be aggressive with this guy. You have to stay all over him, so to speak, throughout the running of a race. But this is a long distance, and the longest that he's going to have had traveled in his career so far. So I'm intrigued to see what Kendrick opts to do with him for a horse that, like I said, is a bit more settled than what I've seen from him in the past, at least as of now in the paddock. Now, the clear cut speed, at least on paper, is number 3, Colomio, here for Charlie Baker, and he's riding a 2-race win streak into this one, but ultimately he will need to get faster. But sometimes with distance, it is an equalizer, and he has proven very efficient at the 9 furlongs. We'll see how he does here at 1.25 miles, as he's a horse that actually looks better than what I thought he did back in January. I like the spacing of his races. His coat looks better. He's actually developing some dapples throughout, and maybe he's a horse that Charlie Baker is kind of finding his way with him and getting him, to maybe show his best that we've seen from him. Now, a horse that I really like getting out to this 1.25 miles is number 1, Mo Rhodes. He's just proverbially built for it. Very long, very lanky, and for a horse that at shorter distances has a little bit of trouble getting out of the gate. We saw at least last time, albeit through slow fractions, he was able to get out of the gate and lay closer, which I'm hoping Christopher Elliott can do yet again here. And furthermore, he has that coveted inside post position that you definitely don't want to give up that position. And we'll see if that bias aids these horses going this far, Greg.
Yeah, 1.25 miles, the sort of big question mark really for everybody in this race.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess the horse who probably has run the best going longer is Portos, but his current form is so abysmal that it's hard to really like him, but he can handle a distance.
Well, strapped, he got a win last time out via disqualification when he just missed in this January 11th race.
And he's a deep closer. He's going to need the race to fall apart. Doesn't really suit the running style. I do think he's far from impossible in here. I picked him second. The one thing I'd say, though, is this race where he got legitimately placed first, he did have the benefit of the race dynamics. The race kind of fell apart in the late stages. We saw Frizzante come back to win, albeit running 7 Beyer points worse, but when he won, he ran against the bias of the track, so his performance, while slower, was actually okay. I just thought the race set up well for him last time, but if a closer wins, I thought he was the right one. Wow, why is the 1 2-1?
Yeah, Mo Rhodes, that figure last time out.
He's coming off a non-winners of 2 lifetime $25,000 claimer. Now, I respect Rick Dutrow as much as anybody in the game, and if you wanted to bet him, that's fine, but it feels like you should be getting about 6-1, not 5-2.
Yeah, that is extremely short, and we'll see if he can improve off that effort, getting a lot tougher company, too. Back to Oaklawn. Post time coming up, even money now on Complex Secret. We made the case certainly for the 8, Daisy Duke, who Mig likes. You talked about Baytown Butterfly. His price has just continued to float upwards, even though there's upside with her making her 3-year-old debut coming up. She's been in graded stakes. She's been competitive in stakes company. See what we get from the 9.
Yeah, I think she's way too big a price. And it's interesting with Baytown Butterfly. She has been training on the synthetic at Turfway, but clearly they don't want to run her on that surface. And they're switching. They're sending her to Oaklawn Park, probably a positive. She's going up because the 5 is going down, right? The 5 was 8 or 9 to 5 and is now even money in here. And I won't be surprised if Complex Secret wins, but for my money, I don't want to take a short price horse claimed away from Kenny, though clearly her last 2 races make her tough. But I don't think there should be this discrepancy with a number 8, Daisy Duke, who I think is a much better bet at 5-2.
Yeah, that's the 8 for the Ron Moquette barn once again. But favoritism has stayed with Complex Secret throughout. Took her 5 starts to break her maiden. And then first try against winners claimed away from Ken McPeak, now with Norm McKnight. We'll see if she can keep things going in a positive direction. Race 5 from Oakland starts this cross country. Pick 5. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman.
Two back, Square Baby in the blue, and Baytown Butterfly to round out the field. Here's Baytown Butterfly going in. We're ready to go. And Laroff. Good beginning for all the runners. Complex Secret put into play. Millie Stardust as a share of the lead. Battleshipper there. Alanis dashing forward between horses now. It's Millie Stardust with an arrow lead on Alanis. Battleshipper right off of them running in the third position. Daisy Duke in the fourth spot with Square Baby between horses. Swift Wind to the inside. Complex Secret gets shuffled back to the second last position. Doesn't appear to like that kickback in her face now. She's dropped to the back with Baytown Butterfly as they go into the far turn run. Millie Stardust, the neck in front. Alanis going a little bit better on the outside and is within a neck of that front runner. Battleshipper nickeled along from third and is racing clearly in that spot, a length in front of Daisy Duke, who attempts to get closer 4 wide. The others have got to pick it up. Complex Secret is dead last at the moment. She hasn't picking up her feet today. Top of the stretch, Daisy Duke on the grandstand side is unleashed and comes calling for the lead. Battleshipper moves with her. Alanis gives way. Millie Stardust weakens at the rail. Daisy Duke ahead in front with a furlong to go. Inside Battleshipper staying on, but is second best with a 16th left. Daisy Duke, Ricardo Santana Jr. on top, and they will prevail, drawing clear late. Daisy Duke, a length and 3/4 ahead at the finish. Battleshipper was second. Baytown Butterfly third. Millie Stardust fourth.
Daisy Duke comes with her run. Did not get much from the favorite today.
Yeah, the drop down for the 7 helping a lot to get second, but Daisy Duke got a very good trip and a perfect ride from Ricardo and ran to her figure last time out and got it done. Nice performance by the second horse dropping down. I thought I had a good one by 9. I bet a little 8-9, and the 9 got a great trip and really looked to be loaded, just had no finish in the stretch, getting third. And listen, we couldn't have said enough. You got to be careful with horses claimed away from Ken McPeak, and at even money, Complex Secret was atrocious.
8-7-9 finish. Back to New York Post Parade coming up for this 1.25 mile test for these 4-year-olds and up, where the even money favorite is about to enter your screen here. Cut the cord, second off a 5-month layoff for trainer Jeremiah Engelhardt with that one right there.
The merits of the favorite are obvious. The horse is running figures that are faster than these, has done well at 1 1/8 miles. There really is nothing not to like about the 5, and in my opinion, can only lose if something sort of goes wrong.
Here's the one, Mo Rhodes. Yeah, still taking all that money.
I could understand somebody trying to make a case for this horse at 6 to 8 to 1, that he's improving, that he's got a good trainer and all those things, but maybe the way he's getting better is a good sign, but for me, he's just a massive underlay.
Here is strapped Rudy Rodriguez.
Why is he considerably less likely or less likely at all to win than Mo Rhodes? I don't see it.
Yeah, and tripwise is going to be so far back. Colomillo trying to win 3 in a row.
If he clears the front and gets the rail, he could upset, but he got very lucky last time.
Portos, as you had pointed out, recent form just not there.
I know, he can handle the distance, but right now he's just not running well against lesser.
Way the horse to beat. Here's Cut the Cord.
Yeah, I don't think 7 to 5 is an unfair price on him. He's just a very logical horse.
And Rob Falcone Jr. has Manny Franco on Prove Worthy outside.
He's not impossible, but he's lost 3 straight races at short prices, and don't know what kind of trip he expects to work out here.
Approaching the 4-minute mark to post for this 6th. Coming up starts the pick 4. You can also, with Naira Bets, get a 20% bonus today when you hit a trifecta at Aqueduct. Got to opt in. Take advantage of that promo at NairaBets.com for that 20% trifecta bonus. Good luck. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
This is a distance we don't often get to see run at any racetrack in America, for that matter. But there is one horse in this field that actually has a win at 1.25 miles, and that's at number 7. That's Prove Worthy. So I think from that perspective, yes, he is a horse that should be considered. The problem is the racetrack, right? He's posted outside, and a horse that does not have much early speed, though Manny Franco giving him a nice solo warm-up over to the far turn. But on top of that, the last time I saw him was his first race back off of the layoff, first start for the Rob Falcone barn. But two, he just looks a lot better than what he did that day. He obviously is stronger, he's fitter, he looks better in his coat as well. So his last two races would be an indicator that he obviously needed that first start back. But I do think that while he is an incredibly lazy horse, he does take a lot of encouragement, and therefore I think Manny Franco is the perfect fit for him. He is one that is always going to be coming and coming late. We'll see if Manny can get him over to the inside at all. And as far as selections in here, I did land on Colomio, but he was about the third horse I was going to pick. I have no problems with your favorite. Cut the cord in here, Greg. And I was going to pick Mo Rhodes because I thought he was interesting and truly a horse that wants this distance. But I agree with Andy, that's too short of a price. So give me the likeliest speed in here that can get over to the rail.
All right, Maggie, thank you. 3 minutes away from this 6 coming up. Odds on now on the 5 cut the cord as we go back to Hot Springs. Daisy Duke, Ron Moquette, the unofficial mayor of Hot Springs. Always good to see him win, and his tremendous meet continues.
No, I mean, he's having a great, frankly, this is one of the shortest prices he's probably won with the entire meet. You know, a 5-2 shot for him is amazing because of what big prices he is. But, you know, it's no surprise he won. He's in good form. He got a good trip to get it done. An excellent performance by the runner-up, who really ran well enough to win this race. And he needed the race before and took some money in here. He's got a text. You know, my friend Hillary is convalescing from getting her leg operated on. So she's so desperate for entertainment. She's watching the show. So she wants to know why they're running such a long-distance race here. I think we're trying to.
Aqueduct,
Good
question.
It's a good question. No, that's why I brought it up. And I think we're trying to create, you know, look for divisions, create opportunities for horses and races.
Did you have that $57,000 pick 5?
I didn't want to brag.
It ended very logically.
But, you know, it was. Well, I love, you know, Pittsburgh.
Right.
I always bet horses that have city names in them. I'm not out for life with the $76
as crazy
horse.
as that sounds, some people do that, and that's probably who hit that pick 5.
It probably would have paid $96 if that. Yeah, the pick 5 might not have been hit. And we were looking at the pick 3s. There were all these, you know, 2 or 3s in there and different things.
But back to the 1.25 mile here.
I think we're trying to create, you know, you look to try to create divisions, you know, give opportunities for horses that maybe don't have those opportunities, because we talk a lot about distance and being the great equalizer and how a horse can be sort of, you see it more on turf where we run much longer distance races where they're just sort of average at a mile and a 16th, but a 1 3/8 to a half, they can almost be stakes horses. And I think sometimes you want to give dirt horses a chance. And sometimes people find there's an opportunity for their horse to do something they don't normally get a chance, and maybe they can perform more efficiently. Trying to give the horse population opportunities to find things that they can flourish at.
And for this really entire field, Prove Worthy has a win at a 1.25 mile. He's only tried it twice. The only one ever to even try it is Portos before that huge 27-1 shot. It was over 5 in the distance. So
well, that's why he's in here, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
why he's running here, because he's running in a race which seemingly is over his head. But I can't blame the connections for saying, you know, maybe there's some horses that are just going to flounder once you start going that last 1/8 or the 3/16 of a mile, and maybe that's when he gets running. We've seen crazier things happening. Look at Next. I mean, look at a horse like Next, and he turned into this incredibly fun, interesting horse last year because the long distance races, and you know, it's a completely different situation, long-distance races. I like trying them. You know, it's just hard to.
And he was, 1.5 mile to 1 3/8. He was exceptional, but a 1.25 mile, he just couldn't quite compete with the best horses.
Right, and you know, his trainer was right. When people, a lot of us, myself included, talked about, you know, trying tougher fields, going shorter, his feeling was he's going to get run off his feet with the paces that are just that much faster. And frankly, that's exactly what happened.
Even money. Cut the cord. Kendrick Carmouche, will he try and put that pressure on, knowing he's on the best horse, and tackle Colomio early, who is trying to win 3 in a row here, that 3-horse with Jose Lescano, and we know he wants to try and go to the front. Set for the 6th, start of the pick 4. Chris Griffin with the call.
Here's Portos. Cut the cord. Prove Worthy to the outside. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Slow start for Mo Rhodes, the early trailer. Colomio is in front and cut the cord, goes right with this leader. These two hook up early. Prove Worthy, center of the racetrack, and tucked right in behind them is Strapped. That's the leading four. Colomio is in front, really right there. Keen was held back there, was Strapped, who is on heels, and Mo Rhodes is trying to get in the early mix too. Portos is down the trailer. They're tightly bunched. Very awkward into that first turn, but Colomio is in front for Jose Lescano. Now has a neck advantage, and here's Cut the Cord, who is in the clear, steered clear of all the trouble as the trouble's in behind. Here comes Prove Worthy, 3 wide at the rail, now more settled is Strapped. In tight in between horses, that's Mo Rhodes, who wants to go, is now in the 5th position, and the gray, the trailer, is Portos. 25-1, the posted opening quarter mile. Colomio is in front. Colomio still there, trying to take him all the way with Cut the Cord. In between horses, 3 wide, still Prove Worthy. 50-1. The half-mile time, Strapped is at the rail, is in 4th, was Keen early, but is now in a nice stalking position right in behind this leading trio. Mo Rhodes wants to go, is now out in the center of the racetrack, is 4 wide as they approach a half-mile left to go. Portos is trailed throughout. Colomio is confronted once again by Cut the Cord. 3 wide still Prove Worthy. Now called upon is Strapped. Red Cap is in behind this leading trio still. Mo Rhodes is holding that position, is going to rally on wide. Portos is under drive at the back end as Colomio has now lost the lead. Cut the Cord in a very tough spot. Is in between horses, is fully extended. Now Mo Rhodes is let free, and here comes Mo Rhodes just looming up on the outside, and Mo Rhodes has easily passed the leaders. Some traffic in behind there as Cut the Cord is called upon for the effort. Strapped is in the clear grandstand side. Cut the Cord is battling on. Mo Rhodes is trying to finish the task, but Strapped has wanted to go the entire race, and here comes Strapped down the center of the racetrack, and these two now shoulder to shoulder for a final furlong. Mo Rhodes won't relent. Strapped is trying to push on by. A 16th left to go. Here's Mo Rhodes to the inside and Strapped. These two in a nice stretch duel, but it's going to be Strapped to win it. Strapped over Mo Rhodes, Cut the Cord, and Prove Worthy in 2 minutes, 6.73 seconds.
Strapped out duels Mo Rhodes for the victory here in the 6th after Cut the Cord waves the white flag mid-stretch.
This pace completely incinerated, and this race would not be a good indication that we're dealing with an inside racetrack, because we saw all outside movers get it done. Cut the Cord was dueling. The pace fell apart. He had no answer when they came to the stretch. He could not get the mile and a quarter and took a big step backwards. Mo Rhodes, they knew what they were doing betting on him, because he did run well in here after getting a bit rank early. But we talked about it beforehand. I have no idea how this horse was the 7-1 5th choice in this 6-horse field off his last race, and he got it done. A nice job by him. Loved the distance. Ruben Silvera and Rudy Rodriguez getting the win.
Outside of the favorite, he had the fastest race of anybody last time.
I don't understand. Listen, the one ran better than I expected. I'm not going to deny that. But as I said before, why is this horse such a... They're betting the one on the come, which is fine, but I mean, this horse had legit dope. How was this horse 7-1 and the 7 was 5-1? I'm perplexed.
Strange indeed, but if you liked him, you're rewarded. Ruben Silvera, Rudy Rodriguez, owned by Michael Imperio, Vinny Scuderi, 6-year-old, picks up his 4th career win. And again at a price, yes, 7-1 to kick off this late pick 4. Strapped, out dueling Mo Rhodes to the wire for the win. Here in the 6th, 2-1, 5-7 finish.
Seize the Gray wins convincingly.
Seize the Gray. He's going to seize the day in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Seize the Gray is still there. Seize the Gray wins the Preakness.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Get into the game with Bond Racing Stable. When you partner with Bond Racing Stable, the Bond team does all the work and you enjoy the experience. As a partner, you can watch morning workouts, come to the paddock for saddling, and cheer your horse down the stretch. Bond Racing Stable offers more than 30 New York-bred weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds in a partnership program that gets you to the winner's circle. Whether on your own or with friends and family, make Bond Racing Stable your racing partners. Go to jamesbondracing.com today.
Friday coverage on America's Day at the Races. Ruben Silvera strapped. Picture time here after the win. Our Winner Circle lead-in brought to you by the Soul of an Angel flash sale on Fasig-Tipton Digital, offering Eclipse Champion and Breeders' Cup Champion Soul of an Angel. Bidding now open. Closes this Tuesday, March 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern at digital.fasigtipton.com.
I don't have the prerequisite money to chip in for that, but if we could all put together a few dollars, maybe we can get involved.
Exciting.
If I bet
campaign.
If I bet a lot of money on Strapped, I could get involved.
$17 return here. Mo Rhodes cut the cord, second and third, but it's Straps day in the sixth here, Maggie.
Oh, yeah. Here, no, I'm just messing with Rudy, as I typically am. But Rudy Strapped really seems like a horse that is doing so well right now. He looked fantastic in the paddock. Thought the track could be against him, but he really gutted out this victory.
You know, he like in the morning looked like he trains like he wants to go all day. He's a tough horse. He put me to work every day.
I was gonna say, do you ride him yourself?
Yeah. Gustavo is making fun of me every day when he see me galloping, but you know, I did the job, so everything was good.
So it's extra incentive when he wins here.
Yeah. You know, it's been giving us a hard time. Yeah. But you know, he's coming along and he's showing up, and that's what it counts.
Rudy, tomorrow, well represented in the Stymie, 2-1 with Bank Frenzy, a horse that's looking for his third win in a row, coming off a little bit of a freshening here. How do you think he fares against what is a deep field?
You know, it's a pretty deep field. You know, and the point was to give him a little freshening. We was tempting to run in the Safe Florida Sandy. But I tell you, you know what, we got the whole summer against him, and he's been very useful. So, you know, just thank God Mr. Saf and Larry, they give me the opportunity to back off a little bit. And right now he looked like he's ready to run. So hopefully he show up the right way. You know, it's a horse they always try. And that's what you want to see in every horse that you get, you know.
You galloping him too?
Sometimes, me and Ali. When Ali missed, then we changed. But thank God Ali's steady right now, so, you know, but I got to worry about him.
I always love to see you on those horses. Well, Rudy, keep up the great work. And Strap looks like one that's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, you know, he looks good. You know, he physically looks like he's a pretty solid horse, nice to be around. And if he don't win the time before, we was going to cut him.
Oh.
He was going to cut him, so he win, and now he wins, so we got to back off of that.
Greg, that's always a useful threat for one to get him to run better.
Thank you.
We love hearing from Rudy and Bank Frenzy, who you talked about. We'll see in the Stymie tomorrow, looking to win 3 in a row. His last 3 wins have come on what tracks?
I think that may have been the first time Rudy didn't take a phone call during an interview with Maggie, actually.
He's a popular guy.
And yes, he is. And Bank Frenzy, obviously, test tomorrow, but he has been in terrific form.
Cross-country pick 5 follow along. This will help things if you had Strapped, paying $17. Still a long way to go, but well done if you had it.
And you'd be an even money shot in the first leg with Daisy Duke, second choice or not.
Meanwhile, when we come back, more from Oaklawn. Race 6 approaching the 9-minute mark to post. It's going to kick off the late pick 5 as well. Express Cruiser current favorite for our buddy. There he is on cue, Tom Amos. Stay with us. Back with you on our Friday coverage of America's Day of the Races, brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Underway in our cross-country Big 5, late Big 4 here in New York, and at Oaklawn, we have race 6 coming up. Kicks off their late Big 5, 6-furlong sprint. Claiming race, everybody, for sale for $15,000 here or around there. Non-winners at 3 lifetime.
Yeah, going 6 furlongs, and it's just another contentious race.
Here is the one who inherits the rail, JJ's Ranger.
Yeah, this is a horse that seems to be completely losing his form since being claimed by Chris Hartman, but does drop down.
Husker Butch, 2 for 22.
Yeah, didn't think this horse was totally impossible in here, but I don't know. The form's questionable.
Tom Amis with the favorite Express Cruiser.
Well, I mean, this horse just ran a very big race. Moves up off a win, but it's almost better to have a horse moving up off a win than dropping off bad races.
Boat Song, 6 to 1.
Yeah, it's taking a big drop down in here, and I think it's a little interesting on the drop down. The trainer actually has very good numbers on these kind of drops at Oaklawn.
Ravenstown could be forward.
Yeah, with the apprentice.
Bellamy's Roan, huge price.
Yes, just doesn't look good enough.
Yeah, biggest price on the board at 28 to 1. Moon over Egbert, Norm McKnight trains.
Just the second star in the dirt and ran well enough first time, but turning back on the dirt, Norm McKnight's 0 for 27. That's a stat. 3 in the money.
Captain Jack, nearly 20 to 1.
Yeah, I think, is it Elton John? I think Elton John fans bang this horse. Isn't Captain Jack will get
Billy
you?
Joel.
Billy Joel, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, good
Guided
call.
Arrow, 11 to 1.
I'll probably get yelled at because
Yeah, that's a bad mistake in New York.
I got in trouble once for knocking Billy Joel on Twitter. It was a bad night for me.
Dalton's Rut Road 2 starts back. That race wins here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly makes it very contentious, but it's the only one really on its BPs.
And Axton at 8 to 1.
Moves up a little bit off the last race, second off the claim. Does have back races, though. They're good enough.
5 minutes away from the 6 again starts the late Pick 5. Sad news to report in our sport. One of the great rivalries, maybe the greatest in the history of this sport. Patrice Wolfson, who along with her husband, Lewis Campaign, affirmed Triple Crown winner back in 1978 in that battle with Aladar, passed away Tuesday at her home in Bal Harbour, Florida. The Wolfsons operated Harborview Farm. Her stepson, Steve, had said that she had been in declining health the past few years and said that she and Penny Tweedy, they were sort of known as the first ladies of thoroughbred racing during their time.
Yeah, and the daughter of Hearst Jacobs as well, and, you know, had a lot of very good horses both in her own and before they got married, of course, affirmed. People remember so well. How about Flawlessly? Was such a tremendous racehorse. And, you know, I got to know both her and her husband about 25, 30 years ago back in Saratoga. They were such a pleasure to see and talk to them the track, and really nice people, and I really enjoyed getting to know her a little bit back in the day. And a really, really important person in racing, and you know, our condolences to her family as well, as she had a great life, but really sorry for the connect for her family and such, and I feel lucky to have known her even a little bit.
Yeah, it said for many, many years after that incredible campaign, thought about what that horse had accomplished almost every day.
Well, I mean, that was a time, right? That was a time to be a racing fan. Affirmed in Alydar, to me, will always be as great a time in racing as there ever was.
How magnificent was Full Count Felicia? Never in doubt.
Coming down to the finish, First World War. Fort Washington on the outside. They're coming down to the line, and Goliad does it.
Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
The only colt ever to win 3 one-mile Grade 1s on dirt. Ran the fastest buyer of the year. That's him, 6 wide, streaking clear.
Here comes Cody's
2 more Grade 1s at 7/8. Here's his 4-go, also running a 1:12 bite. That's 5 Grade 1s all told. No other son of Sires Curlin has so many. They say, be careful what you wish for. We agree.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you and in Hot Springs here on America's Day of the Races, minute to post in race 6. Non-winners of 3 lifetime. There's the favorite, one trained by our colleague Tom Amos, who we're getting set to see here in a few months in Saratoga.
Yeah.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, I've had enough of that guy.
You're over him?
You know, he comes and sees us, you know, in Saratoga. You know, he should don't you think he should come a couple of days at Aqueduct to hang out with us?
Agree.
You know, I'm going to get on him about
Meg,
that.
if you see him, tell him we're not happy with him.
Yeah, tell him we're done with him. I'm done with him.
Well, guys, quickly, Patrice Wolfson, as classy an individual as I ever had the privilege of meeting, what a wonderful woman. That being said, Tom's horse looks terrific here, Express Cruiser. And you guys may be running Tom down right now, but I'm going to step up to the plate for him because Tom is not only a great horseman, he's a great manager, and he places his horses in spots where they need to be competitive. This horse dropped down, ran well, now moves up slightly in class. But I really thought this horse kind of stalled inside. Looked like the horse was full of run. And this was a period of time where it seemed like horses rallying towards the inside were doing just this, kind of getting there and stalling a little bit. I won't say it was a dead rail, but it just never looked like he was completely comfortable running through there. And then after the wire, when the hole got bigger, it opened up more. Then the horse really kind of galloped out. So Express Cruiser, Rafael Bejarano, familiar with the horse, try to get the right kind of trip, and obviously a major player here. The 5 Boat Song checks the boxes for me. Love this horse from a physical perspective. Also dropping in class, had the 1 start in December, but has been training steadily. And I like a work pattern when a horse works a strong 5/8 on February 7th, a minute and 2/5, and then comes back with that nice, easy maintenance move, 49. That tells me they're happy where the horse was. They got the horse there, and they just wanted to have that maintenance move, keep them there, maintaining the fitness that they had already put into the horse. And a horse that we should not sleep on here, guys, is the 11 Dalton's Run. Also dropping in class, this Arkansas bred, looked incredible in the paddock and continued to really like this horse in the post parade. And I just think this horse will outrun the 8-1 odds.
8-1. Dalton's Rutro mentioned that start. 2 back at Oaklawn in that state-bred allowance race. A very good performance from well off the pace.
Yeah, I didn't like him, but he's a price, and I respect Richie's opinion. I don't disagree. The 4 is the one to beat. I like the 5 Boat Song on the drop down, however.
Second choice right now at 3-1, the 5. Loading up, here we go. 6th from Oaklawn, start of their late pick 5 on this Friday card. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman.
Boat Song walking forward. Captain Jack, post 9. Ravenstown coming up. Guided Arrow in the red cap. 2 back, Dalton's Retro. 2 post 11. Into the outside post, Axton to round out the field. Axton, Keith Asmussen looking for a triple today. Draws the outside post, Axton, and he goes in. We're ready to go. And Lara. Bellamy's Roan was slow to go. Ravenstown from post 6 sent hard to get the lead. He's got it. Clears off naturally quickest and strides 2.5 ahead of Axton, who takes the second spot with JJ's Ranger. Husker Butch is down on the inside. He's running 5 lengths off the lead with Express Cruiser between horses. Guided Arrow 3 deep. Then Boat Song right behind them in a tough spot there. Tried to get through down on the rail, got shut off, and had to steady hard with a half mile to go. He's joining Moon over Egbert and Captain Jack, who's 3 deep. Another 2 lengths to Dalton's Retro, and Bellamy's Roan is at the back of the pack as they round the far turn. Ravenstown went quickly, strings them out, and opens up 3. 3.5 lengths, Ravenstown, as he rounds the far turn and puts the pedal to the metal. JJ's Ranger trying to lug out here on the turn while second. Express Cruiser's underway, claiming the second position away at the top of the lane. Ravenstown off the turn, clear by 3. Express Cruiser trying to reel him in. Inside Boat Song after steadying is running on the rail, and the rail's wide open for him. Coming through to take the lead away from Ravenstown, who's out of gas. Express Cruiser in second, but Boat Song got the run up the rail, and he's kicked away. He was ready to win today, and win he will. It's Boat Song and Manny Esquivel by 2.5 or 3. Express Cruiser was second. Moon over Egbert gets up for third, just ahead of Dalton's Retro.
Boat Song pretty dominant here in race 6 at Oaklawn.
Yeah, this horse was so much the best. If you want, go back and watch the replay of the whole race. Didn't particularly break, got shuffled well back for a horse that you would expect to be more forward. Had to steady inside horses. Matt mentioned it in the call, and, ended up getting through and working out a good trip from there, but he had some legit trouble. The pace fell apart, obviously. He was much the best on the drop down.
3-1 on Boat Song for his third career win. Back to Aqueduct and post parade. Here for race 7, 6 furlong sprint, 40,000 claiming race for non-winners of 2 life. Long shot on the inside with Katie Davis.
Yeah, this is a horse that just doesn't have the races to match up with these.
Al Amique for Jamie Ness taking over.
I think at a little bit of a price, this is an interesting horse. A private purchase from Shadwell. I just wish I knew what they paid for this horse.
Light the way, 8-5 favor right now.
I think he's the horse to beat. He's supposed to be the inside speed. I'm not ready to take 8-5, but I thought he was the one to beat.
Familiar Silks, Leon Seiler, Silo Ridge, trained by Bill Mott.
Bill Mott's numbers are not terrible, dropping in a claiming race the first time with non-maidens. He puts blinkers, maybe shows more speed. But my God, coming off a layoff last time, he didn't have any horse.
Face the facts we've not seen since September of 23.
He better be a new horse since then to be competitive here.
Monopoly Man just claimed now with Rob Atras.
He's the more likely of the 2 Rob Atras runners.
And there's Prince of Truth, Linda Rice, Kendra Carmouche.
I can understand liking this horse in here. I don't love his post position, kind of trip he could get. He's got some races good enough, but he's also got a lot of races not good enough. I've lost enough money on him. I've given up.
Third off the layoff. He has put together back-to-back, at least performances. It seems like he could move forward on a, would you call it a slight drop?
Oh, yeah, I think this is a real drop. I look at this horse, and I meant to ask Linda Rice. This horse feels to me like a horse that Linda's been telling the owner you need to drop this horse for a while and finally doing it. Might need another drop, but could win here.
2 minutes to post in the 7th. Let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, I wonder if Prince of Truth, a little bit of a sentimental type of runner, being out of Lady Sheila's very own La Verdad. But he makes sense here. He's been against the track in a few. Might be against the track again, though, as we'll check in with your current 8-5 favorite, Light the Way, and I get him on paper 100% because he comes out of a very live race that included Crazy Mason and Radio Red. Both would return to win their next starts with 90-plus buyer speed figures. I just wish he looked better. He was the horse I kind of walked in and I went, oh, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's Light the Way. He just doesn't look great in his coat. Just with the drop down, I wish he stood out a bit more against this field. As we'll move on to the other kind of drop down here, or first time for a tag, is number 4, Silo Ridge as well. I agree with Andy. Ooh, he did not run well at all last time, and I liked him that day. I thought he was moving well. He looked ready at least, but maybe he just wasn't. Now, he did take a lot of kickback in that affair coming out of that same race as Light the Way. And it just seemed like he was not thrilled with having to run through that. So the blinkers going on today, a kind of bigger cheater cut blinker, maybe to give him a little bit more encouragement to run forward, to run truly through the running of this race. So I wouldn't completely dismiss him as he takes that drop in class. Now, Rob Atras will send out 2 in here. We'll begin with the one first off the claim. That's number 6, the Monopoly Man. And last time, he was a horse who was close to the pace, and I thought of those pace horses finished best of all. Now, granted, he was the beaten favorite, but ultimately that pace kind of coming apart. Now, he will turn back to this 6 furlongs. I'm not totally thrilled with that, but I'm not against it either. And I'm actually going to land on him just because he looks best. And I thought he made the most sense and maybe was the more trustworthy of these horses, you know, in the face of the ones that are dropping in class. So I'm going to take a shot with him here, though. But Rob's other horse, number 5, Face the Facts, made a really good impression physically. Now, he hasn't faced, much company when it comes to outside of Pennsylvania. But look at this horse. He was running those figures, which look really slow as a 2-year-old. He's a June foal. That's very late. So he was barely just 2 when he began his career. He looked so strong, so ready, just really well conditioned too. And with Matty Oliver climbing aboard for a horse who's built for speed, look for him to be forward in here. I don't know where he's going to finish, Greg, but he could be part of the pace early.
I just want to say there's a lot of reasons that I love Maggie. But her going here and picking a horse claimed away from her husband is definitely one of them.
Well, she's doing that obviously because the foundation Tom put into the horse last start.
That's what it was. I knew it was something. He's a contender, I guess.
Yeah.
I prefer Prince of Truth of horses like that. Thought he was the similar prices. I like the 3. I'm not going to deviate from it. I think Light the Way is a big favorite to wire the field. To me, the horse you want, who's a bit of a price, is the number 2, Alamique.
6-1. Yeah, right now making his 4-year-old debut, the 2, with Michael Sanchez moving to the Jamie Ness barn. Set for the 7th. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Silo Ridge. Walking backwards right now, the Monopoly Man. Facing the other direction, there's the Monopoly Man here. Now moving forward. And Prince of Truth to the outside. Goes in. All set. And they're off. The Monopoly Man showing early speed from in between horses right there is Light the Way. At the rail is going to be Alamique to join them, and also Silo Ridge. 4 across the racetrack. It's a pressured early tempo. Now Silo Ridge and Light the Way, they emerge, and these 2 are up top. Settling just off of them, the Monopoly Man is comfortable in 3rd, and Alamique is shoved along. Is at the rail in 4th. Prince of Truth is just cruising into it for Kendrick Carmouche. The 2 at the back, that's Elfgar with Face the Facts. They get set to work into the far turn. Less than 4 furlongs to travel. 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Silo Ridge to the outside of Light the Way. The journey comes from the Monopoly Man, is trying to parlay that into victory. The Monopoly Man is in 3rd, is moving in closer. Prince of Truth is trying to get in it. 2 as they approach a quarter mile left to go. The front 2 still go at it, and Light the Way has got more. It's Light the Way to the inside. Silo Ridge is right there, has not gone away. The Monopoly Man was not able to cut into the margin, and the front 2 continue to duke it out. In the inside there, it's Light the Way. Silo Ridge has had every chance to run by. Light the Way still with a head advantage. Silo Ridge is going to try one final time. It's been a ding-dong battle between these 2. Down to the line. It's going to be a photo finish. Light the Way and Silo Ridge in a tight photo. The Monopoly Man finished 3rd in 1:12.1.
Light the Way, Silo Ridge, both right there at the... I didn't think Silo Ridge was ever going to get there. Made it very close late.
Yeah, I thought for a flash he got his nose there, but he didn't. It's a little hard to tell, but it doesn't look like he did, right? Their noses, they look so similar, it's very hard to see the separation, right? And this isn't as good as the slow-mo that I think we just showed, but we did show it, right? I'm trying to get a little confused here, but I think both Greg and I thought the 3 held on. You know what's weird? Here we go. The outside, he's still not getting there. He got there for a second, Richie. Not Richie, Greg.
And
no.
Back at the wire, it's the 3, right?
Isn't it weird how the horses that are leading have been drifting so badly in the stretch? It's kind of weird.
A little bit. Looks like Light the Way to 3, just barely. Christopher Elliott, Michelle Nevin.
I'm expecting a text
and
from
it
Lee
is.
very soon.
We have a new network joining us right now. Welcome to those joining us on FS1, those already with us on FS2. Thanks for stopping in on this Friday edition of America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. We just had a photo finish here in race 7. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. And for those just joining us, very big weekend on the road to this year's Kentucky Derby coming up.
Gotham Day and Saturday, tomorrow, if you don't know, is Gotham Day, the Gotham Mile, is always one of my favorite days because I always feel like it's sort of a stepping stone that says spring is almost here. Supposed to be temperatures in the 50s. We want you to watch on TV. We'd also love to have you come join us at Aqueduct. It's going to be a fun day of racing. I thought the Gotham and the Busher for the 3-year-old fillies points to the Kentucky Oaks. They're both pretty fun, competitive races.
Yeah, we have a stakes pack card on Gotham Day. Hope you join us. But again, if you cannot make it, we'll have coverage all afternoon long. Here's what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farm. Races 8 and 9 still to come. That late double here in New York, Fast Track at South Ozone Park. And at Oaklawn, races 7 through 10 to come. Fast going out in Hot Springs, Arkansas, where we have the Mig, Richie Migliori, Maggie Wolfadell with us here in New York for these last couple on the card. And you can play it all by getting signed up right there at Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. The offer, that $200 deposit match new customer bonus when you punch in that code at sign up, match 200, and you're ready to roll along through this Triple Crown prep season and beyond at NairaBets.com. Race 7 at Aqueduct. It was a photo finish. Light the Way, the 3, Silo Ridge, the 4, neck and neck to the finish, and just barely. It's this one who gets the win for trainer Michelle Nevin with Christopher Elliott.
Yeah, and a terrific ride by him. Really, you know, it shows when you have a track and there's a perception you need to be forward and inside. You see a lot of aggressive riding. I like the aggressive riding. And these two ding-dong the whole way around, and both of them ran very well. I'm curious to see if Silo Ridge on the drop-down got claimed. I bet he didn't, considering how he ran last time, but he could have been. And listen, at least he ran today, and nobody gained on them. But the 6 was chasing wide the whole way. Maybe these were two best horses, though.
Silo Ridge going back to the same barn. Winner moving on. The 3 and the 5 claim.
Really? Wait a second. The 5? Face the Facts was claimed?
A little surprising, yeah.
Did they mean to claim the 6? Okay.
$5.80. Yeah, Light the Way. The 5 had been off since December of 23 at Parks. Wow.
Wow. Well, they wanted that. They wanted Sons of Flashback. You know, I'm curious who claimed this horse.
Cross country, pick 5 follow along. 1 leg remains. The next race at Oaklawn. We've already had a $17 winner in there. Even Daisy Duke beat a pretty heavy favorite to kick it off.
Marshall Grant, 10 Strike Racing claimed the 5? Okay, I wish Jonathan was here so we could really make fun of him and Marshall. I'm going to have to text Marshall. And
we'll have plenty of time this summer.
That's a funny claim. I would have lost a lot of money if somebody said the 5's going to get claimed.
Yeah,
that would have been a big loser for me.
Race 8, 6.5 furlongs, starter optional claiming field. And Uncle Jim was testing the Derby Trail. When he tried the Withers last start, he was no match for Captain Cook.
Yeah, well, Captain Cook is not a horse's name you're hearing a lot in Derby talk, but I'm not sure you're not going to be hearing more of it after Wood Memorial. He has been very, very good. The Brad Cox barn, you know, it's interesting. Their horses seemed nearly unbeatable for a while. Then they kind of had a cooling down. Nobody can win, 12 months a year, but they've lately been running very well. He's way the horse to beat. I like the 8 in this race, Puckish, but to be honest with you, on this racetrack, I have a lot of trouble taking him.
Uncle Jim, even money, morning line. That price will be coming down, we strongly suspect.
Well, he's a huge favorite, the double.
Yeah. We're going to take a timeout. Speaking of the Derby Trail, can a New York bred make a big impact? First try against Open Company for the undefeated Sand Devil for Linda Rice. Coming up tomorrow in the Gotham. We'll have a preview ahead. Back with you on our Friday coverage here on FS1 and FS2 of America's Day of the Races, brought to you by Hill and Dale at Alapa Nightcap. And late double still to come here in New York. And here's what's ahead on the Saturday card. 4 stakes on Saturday that we will bring to you all in the program, beginning with the Tom Fool and on the road to the Kentucky Oaks for the Busher and the Derby Trail with the Gotham.
The Stymie, actually, a few years ago, was won by Vino Rosso, who went on to use it as part of his springboard to a Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, pretty incredible. Gotham, we don't see it in a lot of these preps here. This time here, cutting back to a mile. That's what happens here in New York. And we have a couple of horses, certainly Sacrosanct and Sand Devil, 2 New York breds who are going to test open company for the first time. They both seem to have a lot of talent.
And I love that the top 3 choices in the morning line are all New York breds with calling card as well. Sand Devil is a very, very good horse, but he's coming back in 3 weeks, and he's going to have to face a tough customer from a speed standpoint as well as a talent standpoint in Sacrosanct inside of him.
Who's won 4 in a row. But to this point, Sand Devil, do you like the fact, too, not just that he's undefeated, but that every single time out, too, his numbers have improved a little bit?
Yeah, no, he's a very good horse, and he comes in here with absolutely the best figures of anybody, and he is the horse to beat. But he's going to face a real test with pace. He's coming back in 3 weeks. You know, Linda Rice told us last time, right? She basically said, you know, Derby or bust. She and owner Chester Broman want to get to the Derby, and I think that's fun and exciting, and I hope he runs well. But there are a lot of different options in this race. In theory, still, he's the horse to beat.
Well, meanwhile, the most lightly raced runner in the group, pretty talented trainer, though, coming off his 5th Eclipse Award as Outstanding Trainer, Chad Brown. Garamond trains for Juddmonte, a homebred for them. Has only started once. It was a win at Tampa, and now trying a mile and great at Stakes Company in start number 2.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I will tell you that Chad Brown told me before he ran, he said, I'm going to win this maiden race at Tampa, and then I'm going to the Gotham. Now, he didn't say I'm going to win the Gotham. So far, he's been 100% on everything. He was right, he won. I just don't know what he beat at Tampa. Now, he had a little trouble. He's probably better than that. I obviously have the utmost respect for Chad, and he is confident in this horse. But it's not going to be easy. This is a tough spot to go into your second start. We'll see.
And, yeah, in terms of just how fast he ran first time out, he would, and he could, but needs to improve significantly. But you would expect improvement from this barn second start.
Yeah, I mean, with Chad's confidence in him, I would think that he's probably pretty good. But is he good enough to win here?
We will find out. Part of that story that's going to unfold tomorrow, giving up a lot of experience in that Gotham, really, to just about everybody in that group. Here's a look at the upcoming road to the Kentucky Derby. Busy Saturday. Not just the Gotham here in New York, our ABR Race of the Week. Fountain of Youth at Gulfstream, where Sovereignty, Burnham Square, the Street Sense and Holy Bull winners. Back in action out west in the San Felipe. The highly touted $3.2 million Barnes going to get 2 turns for the first time.
Yeah, this is a really pivotal weekend, right? With Barnes stretching out. You've got Publisher in there as well. You've got Barnes' stablemate, Rodriguez. Rodriguez right now is setting up to me to be the Medina Spirit of Bob's group horses, you know? They keep rating him even though he has speed. They're going to let Barnes probably go tomorrow. They did the same thing last time with Citizen Bull. And I think he is pretty good. And I'm interested to see what he does. And obviously with Sovereignty coming back in the Fountain of Youth, as well as a couple of Todd Pletcher horses that have run extremely fast races, including the surprising horse, right? The really weird horse. Well, River Thames has been good, but how about Gate to Wire? I mean, this is a horse that Todd, and I'm sure he'd be the first to admit it, he just got him wrong. He obviously was not working that well on the dirt in Saratoga, so he ran him on turf and synthetic. And he was okay, but fairly marginal. They went to dirt. He was a big price, and he just exploded. And sometimes you just don't know. And even the best of very best of the trainers, and Todd obviously belongs in that conversation, they get fooled by horses.
He was 14-1 in that Swale dirt debut, and he dominated that group. Yeah, he'll be fun to watch. But also his stablemate, River Thames, looked like he could be a major player as well. We just wanted a mile last start. More from Oaklawn when we come back. 7 minutes away from race 7. Stick with us. Plenty still ahead on our coverage.
Keeneland September yearling sale, the premier thoroughbred auction venue in the world, Mandy Pope of Whisper Hill Farm signed the ticket on the $5 million sale topper by Curlin, bred by Stone Street Thoroughbred Holdings. He was one of $5 million plus yearlings by Curlin to sell. no fewer than 55 of his yearlings fell to the auction gavel, averaging nearly $600,000, making Curlin the #1 sire of yearlings in 2024. Curlin, the classic sire.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got them. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Here comes that big gray Tappet Trice right down the outside.
Tappet Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass. Tappet Trice's 2024 debut was awesome.
Tappet Trice is lunging. Tappet Trice wins the Woodward.
Back on our Friday coverage as we head to Hot Springs for the 7th here coming up.
Oh, I'm sorry. The one bestseller. I kind of missed that. Goes from synthetic to dirt. Good numbers for Rudy Brissett going synthetic to dirt if you're looking for a reason to take a price on him.
Entry-level allowance, mile and a 16th, by the way. Here's Malibu Smart Chris Hartman barn.
Yeah, Chris Hartman just not having the same kind of numbers. I thought he was a cut below the best horses.
One of the biggest numbers on the board here, Templar Red.
Yeah, maybe should be 35-1, but probably has to run a little bit better. More of a turf horse, really.
Champagne Rose, State's debut, was a race that came off the turf in a stake at Fairgrounds.
Why is this horse taking any money whatsoever? This horse could be 20-1, and I wouldn't play.
Group 1 winner on the grass in Brazil. Yeah, the 5 went by. Here's the 6, Crazy Cammy.
I think Crazy Cammy is a big-time player here for Mike Maker. I had the race 1-6-9-11.
Late to the game, actually ran a good figure sprinting, but now goes longer for the first time.
Yeah, not my cup of tea stretching out.
That was a maiden win last time out. Angel of Faith, Eric Asmussen for Dad Steve.
Yeah, coming off an eased after running okay two-back.
Here's the favorite, a couple of very big efforts, one of them at Del Mar for Simply Enchanting.
And he's second off a layoff, caught a muddy seal track last time. He's got to, though, find older form. Is he really worth a 5-2?
How about 9-1? Good race from Honor Cat last start.
Honor Cat did run his best race, really, in a long time last time.
Former graded stakes winner on the road to the Kentucky Oaks for D. Wayne Lucas Lemon Muffin.
She consistently runs numbers good enough to win here. Not a good post, though.
And here is Logistics, Pretty Gray, daughter of Liam's Map.
Yeah, stretching out for Mark Cassie. I'm betting the one bestseller in here. Why is this horse a huge price?
Yeah, 12-1 from the rail. No, back-to-back very good efforts and put a line through that last start. It was on a different surface. Let's check in for the first time on our FS1 coverage with Richie Migliori. Mig.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. And we'll start with the 4, Champagne Rose. Now, she is a Grade 1 winner, but on turf. And they tried to run her on turf at Fairgrounds. It rained off. But the fact that they continue to try her on the dirt, ship her in here, I think is a vote of confidence from Kenny McPeak. Now, from a physical perspective, she looks great. I agree with Andy at 9-2, a shorter price. I think there's too many questions for me to pick this horse, but I would be remiss not to talk about her from a physical perspective. Could not look any better. Ray Bryson, Kenny's assistant here at Oaklawn, does a great job, a terrific hand with a horse. He was also a very accomplished bull rider back in the day. And that's a whole different breed there. But, again, just from a physical perspective, would have been remiss not to speak of her. The 6, Crazy Cammy, making a really nice impression. I think Mike Maker was one of the barns that was hurt by inclement weather here. And it took a while for their horses to start rounding into form. And I feels like Mike's barn is starting to heat up here. This filly by Audible making a really nice impression. Isaac Castillo, a rider that we got to see a bit of in New York, and I really liked what I saw from him. I think kind of an underrated rider, gets the call here. Simply Enchanting from Phil D'Amato's barn. Now, this horse had to start early January at Oaklawn. That was in the mud. One thing you got to look at with horses coming from Southern California, the vast majority of them have never even trained in mud, let alone run in it. And she had never run in it before. And it's just a whole new experience. Not to say that some of them won't handle it or some of them won't be better for a start and off-going. But I like the fact that this horse gets a fast track today because, again, they don't even get an opportunity to practice in off-going, normally speaking. And then the 11, Lemon Muffin. Tyler Bacon got the call for the first time last time, and I feel like he probably learned something. I thought he moved a bit too soon, made kind of that middle move. She is a grinding type, so those kind can be difficult to kind of gauge your run. But I think this is the kind of horse that with experience under your belt will ride better the second time. And certainly Wayne Lucas has been a real, we call him the coach, but he's been a real coach to Tyler Bacon, somebody he's taken under his wing, and not just how to ride, but also how to conduct themselves. And I think the results are showing, guys.
It's a lot of success giving these young riders a chance. Happened last year in the Preakness with Jamie Torres. Now he's given Tyler Bacon some of these big opportunities.
I'm telling you, the Mig's going to be an agent this summer. He's Tyler. I can just see it now. Tyler Bacon and the Mig at the mornings in Saratoga.
It would be a good team.
I tell you what, the Mig and anybody is a good team.
Back to Aqueduct. Uncle Jim coming out of the Withers on the Derby Trail, 3-5 favorite. Let's go to Maggie.
Uncle Jim, much the horse to beat. But I do want to mention number 6 in here. That is Jerry's Out. Now, he's a turn back as well from that mile try for Rudy Rodriguez. I know the comment line saying equine ambulance afterwards, he did not want to switch to his outside lead down the stretch. But a horse that, while there's several in here look as though they're the same speed early, he is at least acting the sharpest. And furthermore, I like the turn back. He just looks really well conditioned, really well defined overall. So I'd be willing to give him another shot here too, Greg.
Post break, thank you, Maggie. Coming up, we'll see the big favorite first. So Uncle Jim, first time out was a winner at Keeneland. Ran incredible in start number 2 and then try the Withers.
They're just being realistic with him. They're running him in a race that he belongs in. I don't think he's worth 4-5, but I think he's much the horse to beat.
Steel Vengeance. Wayne Potts coming off a win last start, but tackling tougher.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to have to improve a lot if the one runs any of his races, and that's why the one's a big favorite.
Here's Gimme Gimme with a big warm-up under Kendra Carmouche.
If you want a horse off the claim for Linda Rice, you're getting a price here.
Tapperit's Temper, that was a good effort last start to just miss.
If his last race is legit from a speed figure standpoint, he's a player in here.
Mr. Sugar Daddy is the biggest, co-biggest price on the board.
Yeah, he's just a little slow. I mean, it's one of the reasons you go through these horses, why the one's a big favorite.
Shortening up from a mile to 6.5. Here's Jerry's Out.
Yeah, I agree with Maggie. I think he's a bit dangerous in here. He's probably the second or third likeliest winner.
Sobieski with Romero Mirage.
Just too slow.
And Puckish, that was a fast maiden win. It was at Finger Lakes last year. What will we get today?
And for those wondering, he's a New York bred, and I get saying, why are they running for 50? They paid $35,000. I think he's a big player. I wish he had a different post. On a fair racetrack, I'd bet him. I'm just a little concerned about the track.
At Oaklawn for the 7th, here's Matt Dinnerman, the call.
Back, Logistics to the outside post. We're ready to go. And we're off. Lemon Muffin stumbled at the break. From post 5, she makes a point going to the front. Angel of Faith takes a hold. Will track in second. Bestseller, shown Rain to get up there, be level second with Angel of Faith. And tucking in behind that leader, she makes a point. Who hits the first turn, is on the rail now and leads the way a length and a half. Angel of Faith in second. Bestseller running in third. Then Honor Cat, Logistics, they're side by side. They're a length and a half ahead of Malibu Smart. And then comes Templar Red right behind. Crazy Cammy, Simply Enchanting. They race as a pair. They're 3 clear of Late to the Game and Champagne Rose. Lemon Muffin even after the stumble at the break is last right now. About a dozen lengths behind the front running She Makes a Point, who leads the way at 51-1. She Makes a Point, the pacemaker, a length and a half. Bestseller off the rail in the two-path tracking, racing alone. Angel of Faith is backed off in third. Honor Cat draws level with her. Malibu Smart is niggled along. Crazy Cammy is making an early run. She's now into the 5th position. She's 5 off the pace between horses. Templar outside. Logistics is giving way now and is not being persevered with. Logistics being eased up out of the race as they round the far turn. She Makes a Point, the leader, a length and a tail ahead. Bestseller on the outside, right there, poised to pounce. Has not been asked for her best yet, and Bestseller comes looking for the lead at the quarter pole. Honor Cat is trying to follow her move. She's getting outside, well sent along now. Crazy Cammy's right behind her, gets to the rail and cuts the corner at the top of the stretch. Bestseller with She Makes a Point. They're side by side. Honor Cat's trying to pick him up from third. Bestseller, furlong to go, has the narrow lead. She Makes a Point to the inside, very stubborn from the rail. Crazy Cammy, Honor Cat, 4th and 3rd. She Makes a Point is coming back at Bestseller. She Makes a Point. Fernando Hara with Bestseller and Christian Torres, and it's a photo. I think Bestseller on the outside got a good bob, but it was tight between her and She Makes a Point. Crazy Cammy 3rd, and then Honor Cat.
51-1 shot. Not making this easy, but in the end, Bestseller looks like just gets the nose down.
I bet a few dollars in this horse. That was a crazy price on that horse.
Back to New York and back to the odds-on favorite, Uncle Jim, Manny Franco, for trainer Brad Cox. Meanwhile, outside, 3-year-old debut coming up for this one. Puckish. Katie Davis rides for David Duggan.
I am an unabashed David Duggan fan. On this racetrack, I just worry the horse may not get a trip. And I say it a lot. It's tough to, trust that Finger Lakes form will get reproduced here. But this horse's last race at Finger Lakes at face value is good enough to win here. I don't argue about the one. The one's the horse to beat. I wish it was a more fair track, but I do like the 8 Puckish as an alternative.
Huge improvement, Maggie, in that second start to dominate and break his maiden.
Yeah, I too, like Andy, find Finger Lakes form a little untrustworthy for the fact that it often seems like figures are a little bit higher than what they should be, but visually Puckish was impressive in that he didn't break all that well, but quickly kind of found his stride, posted up about 3 wide, allowing 2 others to go out to the lead, circled up and just powered away from that field while under little encouragement. The problem is he comes back now as a 3-year-old, and the problem for me is that I don't know what he looked like in those 2 efforts late in his 2-year-old season. I don't know how much growth there's been, and you can kind of see why they only paid the $35,000 for him. He's quite small, quite diminutive relative to what he faces coming to NYRA for the first time. And while Katie kind of woke him up, at least on track, he was very quiet in the paddock and just looked a touch weak behind, like a race would really, really benefit him. So while I wanted to like him because that effort was great to break his maiden, I just don't love him at face value looking at him physically against the rest of his foes today. But again, always respect anything Dave Duggan sends out as he'll look for another winner on the card. I agree though with Andy when it comes to the Linda Rice acquisition, gimme claimed from Dave Duggan, but a horse that obviously looked really well before, but I like the turn back a bit from the mile. And furthermore, I think he was against the racetrack, against the flow of that race, being outside on a day that it was more beneficial to be towards the rail, much like it is today. And while he's a little bit more quiet than what I saw from him going back to when he broke his maiden, a lot of times getting Lasix will do that to a horse. It'll take the edge off them a bit more. And I do think there is a reason to believe that this horse could move up yet again. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. Here we go. About to load for this 8th, our feature on the Friday card from here in South Ozone Park. 4-5 favoritism. Uncle Jim coming off a brief test on the Derby Trail that did not go his way, so back to a more realistic spot.
You win races by running your horses where they can win, and he's running exactly where he belongs.
And where do you expect to see him in this race early?
I mean, you're riding the best horse from the rail. You got to go. And there's not an abundance of speed here. I mean, the 2 can be forward, the 4 can be forward. I got to think Manny's going to come out firing, don't you?
You would think. We talked about the 4. Big price on a horse who, off his last effort. Faster race than what really Uncle Jim has ever run.
But he's just got a resume of races that are too slow, and he's a little bit of a one-number horse,
Outlier
but at least he's a big price. So,
and there's Puckish, that big maiden scorer to end his 2-year-old campaign. Now comes to the big leagues after winning at Finger Lakes. Chris Griffin with the 8th from Aqueduct.
One rearing up there. Looks like Tappert's Temper, the 4. Now settles. And they're off. Tappert's Temper has early speed, so does Mr. Sugar Daddy, and at the rail, that's Uncle Jim. Uncle Jim is in front and a host of pursuers towards the outside as here comes Jerry's Out, who's trying to join that leader, and Sobieski out in the center of the racetrack. Joining them is Puckish, who's now claiming 4th, is to the outside of Tappert's Temper, who's back to 5th. Gap of about 4. All ready to gimme gimme, followed by Mr. Sugar Daddy, losing ground quickly, and the trailer, Steel Vengeance, 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Uncle Jim is in command and doing it very easily as Uncle Jim. It's Uncle Jim opening up the margin, is up by 2. Now 2.5 is at the rail. Here comes Puckish with a ground-saving journey, and Jerry's Out is encouraged to move forward here, is trying to hold that second position. Outwider Sobieski, Tappert's Temper trying to pick it up. Gimme Gimme, Mr. Sugar Daddy, and Steel Vengeance. Uncle Jim has barely been asked, now gets mild encouragement here from Manny Franco, and Uncle Jim is sprinting away. Jerry's Out is holding second right now, and Puckish is trying to hold on for 3rd. The rest are far, far back, a final furlong to get. Uncle Jim, Jerry is out. They are well clear of the rest. Inside the final 16th, Uncle Jim kept to his task, but Uncle Jim, an easy winner. Jerry's Out second, then comes Gimme Gimme, finishing 3rd over Tappert's Temper in 1 minute 18.53 seconds.
Uncle Jim on cruise control here. Easy win, dropping out of the withers on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Lot easier company, and it showed.
I think we both turned to each other about 50 yards in the race and said, this race is over. I mean, listen, and that's, when you're a rider like Manny Franco, you ride the best horse like the best horse, and that's what he did. I will tell you, this horse probably got claimed out of here. I think they made the right move dropping him.
Coverage continues over on FS2. After the break here, signing off on FS1. Hope you enjoyed it. Uncle Jim, easy time of things here in the 8th. Good to be with you. Those that just tuned in and those already with us on FS2. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale, the MIG out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Uncle Jim, impressive against this group here coming out of the Withers last start.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he was 3-5 for a reason. He had everything go his own way in here, and he was an impressive winner, winning like a 3-5 shot should. I would imagine there were quite a few claims on him, and I wish the new connections the best of luck, but I think the past connections made the right move dropping him. He did well, but I don't think he's going to be winning any stakes going forward for the new connections. I hope I'm wrong.
Those Silks had some big wins with a pretty good one.
Well, your favorite horse. I mean, Greg Wolf loves Catholic Boy. I can't believe he hasn't gone
twice was just completely put away and beat in the stretch on the turf, and somehow inexplicably came back to win.
He beat you for enough money that if you had won them, you could have bred to him.
I
you could have gotten a mare. I think they should give you a season, just because of how much he cost you. And we're talking about the mighty Catholic Boy, Grade 1 winner on turf and dirt. I mean, I'm going to tell you, the Belmont Derby Travers double, I don't know if that'll ever be repeated. That's an incredible,
yeah, it really is.
Incredible accomplishment.
What a horse.
Yeah.
Uncle Jim, 3-5 to win, 1-6, 3-4 finish. Manny Franco, huge day the other day. Following up with another big Friday here, winning for Brad Cox and those Silks of Robert LaPenta, who campaigned Catholic Boy. Matacat Stables as well. Back at Oaklawn, bestseller. Good call, Andy Serling. You picked up on this one. had to outfight a 51-1 shot to get this win, but just barely does.
Yeah, and I was saying to you after a race, I looked up the Dam as the 5 was first time in the dirt. She's a point of entry, but the Dam actually ran a 94 buyer on dirt and won a ton of money with 15 wins. She ran extremely well. And listen, I appreciate that, Greg, but I said to you on Betting the One, and you said to me, how is this horse 13 to, you couldn't agree. It was 7-2 on the morning line.
Didn't make sense.
They just completely and totally missed this horse in a big field. I don't think it was a great pick. I think it was a great price.
Yeah, you're right. Just missed by the betting public.
Just got totally lost.
$28.40 for the win. The last 3 starts on dirt. 2 wins now and a runner-up finish.
I don't understand it. And, Rudy Brissett has good numbers, synthetic to dirt. He's now 7 for 22. And the ROI just went to over $3.
Take a look at this cross-country payout that ends with that big number. He had strapped in there as well. $1,879.
So we needed the one tough horse, right? So we got an $80 parlay, about $320, and you got to say 10, so about $3,000, and then $9,000. Yeah, it was a little light, the parlay, but I just think the last winner was no way that horse was that priced in the Big 5.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's Uncle Jim, your winner, $3.30, dropping out of Stakes Company in the Withers. And no question, just absolutely the best here. Jerry's out. Gimme. Back in second and third. Let's go downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Please be joined by a New York assistant to Brad Cox, Dustin Dugas. And Dustin, with Uncle Jim, just the right spot. And turning him back, was it always the plan to be that aggressive with him?
Well, I was actually telling Manny in the paddock, I said, he's been aggressive in his training lately, leading up into this race. I said, I wasn't really quite sure what he was going to show with the cutback as far as speed, but I knew he was going to be sharp.
And that he was proving the best. But tomorrow, you are well represented in the Gotham and a battle of the New York breds, as you will send out sacrosanct. You were just telling me that not only are you in charge of his kind of training here, but you're his regular exercise rider as well.
Oh, yeah. Like when I said last time, I love him. He's definitely a barn favorite, but he's one of my favorites as well. And I tend to just get on him a lot because he can be a little tricky to ride sometimes, kind of leans in sometimes. But he's just been a really fun horse to ride and to work with.
Putting his undefeated record on the line, facing Open Company, though, his main rival being a New York bred as well. Talk a little bit about strategy as he comes back off the layoff.
Yeah, he coming back up the layoff, he's been training really well. His last few races have been pretty good. I'm happy to see him get that this race is a mile. I mean, he's already gotten the mile before. He's going to have to step up, like you said. I mean, he is facing Open Company, but, Sand Devil is a nice horse, another New York bred too, but I do think he's gonna run his A game. Yeah, I think he's going to have to definitely step it up.
Will he still be barn favorite? No matter what.
Oh, of course. Yeah, he's my boy. He's my boy for life.
Well, Dustin, best of luck with him. Congrats here with the Uncle Jim.
Thank you.
And as you guys assumed correctly, massive shake on Uncle Jim going to a new barn. Greg?
Yes. Figured that one was going to be gone, and that's the case.
Listen, they have a very big, extensive barn, and they're running their horses where he belongs. Is he worth a little more than 50? Maybe he is, but I don't think based on that race, it was a bad drop by them. I think it was a smart move. They dropped, they won, they moved on.
Nightcap still to come. We'll close things out here in New York. Let's take a look at the field. This one to end this Friday card here in New York. New York breds, $30,000 maiden claiming race, all trying to get that first win of their career. All for sale for $30,000, going a one-turn mile.
If I was confident that the track was fair, which I think it's not, I would make a big bet on Mary in the Irons. I think Mary in the Irons is exactly the kind of horse in general you want to bet in races like this. I thought she ran as a first-time starter. She showed a little bit of running in a race, and she's running in a weak field. There's no doubt that Frankie Hiccups is the horse to beat off the good races, but you've got a favorite that's coming off a dreadful ease performance. And it's one thing to say, yeah, the horse is the horse to beat, but I don't need a horse like that at a short price. I like Mary in the Irons, but I don't know if she has any speed. It's hard to tell from her first race, and I'm worried she'll have the wrong trip, but I'm going to bet her if she drifts up from her 3-1.
All right, we'll close out the New York card with this. A lot more to come still from Hot Springs. Don't think about changing that channel. We'll be back, too, to talk Busher on the road to the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. She's fascinating. Part of stakes action you'll see tomorrow on the program, coming off a dominant maiden win in her 3-year-old debut. Can she build on it for Anthony Dutrow?
Princess of Silmar now takes the lead, 3/4 in 1, 15-1. It's Princess of Silmar, and she's drawing away now. She's opened up a 3-length lead. Then it's Kelly Got Frosty, Let Me Entertain You, Kimono, and Marcelina Doro. Another good-looking effort from this 3-year-old filly, Princess of Silmar. She bounds home to win by 7 in the Busher.
Ed Stanko, if you're watching, we love her. We love that feature on you. It's one of the best we've ever done, and you made it happen. She was special.
We love Ed, no doubt about it. And for those of you who think, oh, the Busher, they can't win big races out of it, she didn't just win the Oaks. She won 4 Grade 1s succession, culminating with a victory over Royal Delta. And she beat Royal Delta as well. And, you know, no disrespect to Beholder. I thought they should have at least shared the 3-year-old Eclipse. And Beholder, you know, not saying she's not a deserving horse, and she was a tremendous racehorse. But this horse had an incredible season running all year. And, boy, she gave us a lot of thrills. And I picked against her in every race at Aqueduct, and Ed used to come and make fun of me about it. But, boy, I had a lot of respect for her. Terrific racehorse.
Again, if you have not seen that feature, I'm sure we'll show it again at some point, but having to make that last-minute decision because the breeding plans changed to some unknown, and you never know where stars are going to come from in this sport. Just shows you.
I'm game for showing it 3 or 4 more times today, if you're okay with it, guys.
Honestly, that's
Sergeant
one
Reckless.
feature
Do we have Sergeant Reckless available as well?
It's number 1 on my list. I think it's the best thing we've ever done. It's tremendous. Busher, this year's edition, you can see it tomorrow live on our coverage. We have 4 stakes on Saturday, which we will all show live. This on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. We talked about she's fascinating going to break. It's a big maiden score, big improvement for her in start number 3 in that 3-year-old debut.
I don't disagree. I'm looking at the Gotham. That's why she's not there. I think a concern is, Lasix off. This was her first start with Lasix, and she exploded. This was a very fast race. I'm not thrilled by the fact the second-place finisher was a massive disappointment in our first race yesterday, though she was a bit against the racetrack. But still, this is a big race by her. Can she duplicate it for Tony? I hope she can. I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of horses that can win this race.
Well, she is certainly one of them. She'll get winners for the first time, so this is a huge step up, but she deserves it off that performance. Meanwhile, on the rail, Liam in the dust. She's already been stakes tested. She's been a Grade 1, Grade 2 company. She's graded stakes placed in her 3-year-old debut coming up tomorrow.
And she's going to be my pick in here. I think the best race she ever ran was her one-turn mile here when second to Lacara, who running the Devona Dale tomorrow at Gulfstream. We saw her with that blowout win, the Suncoast, down at Tampa when we covered the Sam Davis. She ran extremely well. This is a pretty contentious pace, and she held in well behind a good horse in Lacara. She's down on the inside, and I think she could be the inside speed. Now, I am crossing my fingers we have a fair track tomorrow, but I still think she can win this race. She should be a square price.
This filly's the only one in the field who can claim that she's a stakes winner. She won the Ruthless last start by 10 lengths, gate to wire.
I have absolutely no idea where this race came from. She never offered a hint that she would be this kind of horse. But to be fair, she made one start to be in her career back in October. Then she got slop in her next start. So she's undefeated on fast tracks. And obviously her first start was very slow. But she improved a lot here. And listen, you don't know. Maybe she's turned the corner and maybe she's just this good. But I want to see it again, Greg.
The way she's improved in her 3 starts, she's projected, what, to run in the 90s?
Yeah.
A buyer speed figure?
I'm going to bet the under on that, but you make a valid point. And listen, I mean, if you want her, I think he's supposed to be a sort of a last time was the time horse. But to suggest that she can't win this race would be ridiculous.
Intriguing edition of the Busher. It's coming up race 7 tomorrow. Again, 4 stakes on that Saturday coverage that we will have here for you from New York tomorrow, including our ABR race of the week on the road to the Kentucky Derby with the Gotham. Back to Oaklawn when we return from a timeout, 7 minutes away from race 8. 6 furlong sprint. There is Haya. 9-2 is your favorite right now. Wide open betting race coming up.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
50, 60, 250, 60, now 60, 260 mark, 260,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got them. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Fasig-Tipton Digital presents Soul of an Angel. Graced with pure speed, she secured champion female sprinter honors, winning the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, earning the second highest winning Ragozin in the last 10 years of the race.
Soul of an Angel!
She also won the Grade 2 Ruffian and the Grade 3 Princess Rooney. Possessing divine looks, this racing broodmare prospect has earned over $1.2 million and counting. The Soul of an Angel flash sale, February 26th through March 4th on Fasig-Tipton Digital.
Back with you on our Friday coverage here on Fox Sports 2, race 8 at Oaklawn. $16,000 claiming race. 4-year-olds and up who have not won a race since October 28th or non-winners of a race since September 28th get weight in this race. They get 3 pounds. Here's Haya, who is a co-favorite at 9-2.
I'm sorry, we're at Oaklawn, excuse me. Yeah, I thought this was an absolutely impossible race, and dropping down, one of many with a chance.
Cane Creek Road, a big effort out on the West Coast 3 starts ago.
And listen, while he's done most of the running on the turf, I mean, that race 3 back is good enough to win here.
Dazzle Me Silver 3 starts ago obliterates this field, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was a pretty good race, and he's cutting back in distance for a trainer who has decent numbers cutting back.
Tricky Tracky went by John Ortiz off the claim, and here's Amazing Success.
Yeah, Ortiz no success off the claim at Oaklawn. Comes off the claim from Norm McKnight and moves up.
Speedy without objection.
Yeah, he figures to be part of a fast pace, perhaps with Haya.
Short cut back for Rowdy Rascal.
His best races are behind him.
Raven's Nest at 6-1.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't bet horses coming in from Delta. They just don't usually perform well here.
Gambler Rocket been off since June of last year.
Yeah, another shipper whose form had eluded him before the layoff.
Hello Hot Rod, best form seems to have abandoned him.
Is cutting back in distance for a trainer who is 1 for 51 going from a route to a sprint. How's that for a stat?
And big player in from the also eligible list. I got no money.
I agree, is a big player, but the last race at Houston is a concern as he drops down.
And Blowtorch, Eric Asmussen, reigning Eclipse Award-winning rider for John Ortiz.
I just thought he was a little bit slow, but there's a lot of horses that can win here.
Including the horse on the rail. That is Haya. With more, let's go to Mig.
Yeah, Greg, I really struck by Haya's appearance. He's dropping in class. By a horse, El Deal, who started out with Andrew Lakeman before going on to be a stakes horse. You get Harry Hernandez from the inside. Got to work out a trip. Is he forced? Because I think there's, enough pace in here, but Haya looks terrific from a physical perspective, makes a lot of sense, as does the 3, Cane Creek Road, making his first start at Oaklawn Park, coming from Southern California. Ruben Alvarado deputizing for Peter Miller. He had also been a longtime assistant to Dan Hendricks out in California. Ruben Alvarado, and also brother to an extremely good rider, top-class rider in Frank Alvarado, who, Andy, I'm sure you're familiar with, remember from the New York scene, really strong, hard-finishing rider. The 5, Dazzle Me Silver, making a nice impression. You get Tyler Bacon, enough said for me. I'm always going to endorse a horse that I like a little bit and elevate it with Tyler Bacon. Another one, dropping in class. Tough race to handicap, though. This is one of those, really tough head-scratcher, Oaklawn Park full fields. And then the outside, the 13, I got no money. Inevitably, when I see a horse that's extremely well turned out, it feels like it's hailing from the Steve Asmussen barn. Horse checking all the boxes, looks fantastic. And you get Keith Asmussen looking for his 100th career Oaklawn Park winner.
We'll get back to it, Mig. Thank you. We return to New York.
I feel like Frank Alvarado rode a lot successfully out in Northern California.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. I do remember he rode here, though.
Sneak in this post-parade before they break from the gate at Hot Springs.
I actually saw him in the PPs of a horse the other day, riding a horse. I was looking up old I saw the PPs of a second dam that was very good and run back in the early 90s. And I noticed Frank Alvarado was riding, and now Richie brings him up.
Here's Aka Ira. Jorge Abreu trains.
Listen, it's not going to take a Herculean effort to win this race. I'm not knocking anybody, and he does have speed.
Frankie Hiccup's Bullet Drill coming in.
Yeah. Listen, his 2 and 4 back are going to win here, but I don't trust him off his last.
IMF showed improvement that second start on a money track.
Yeah, I don't like this horse at all. I don't see it. I don't like him even on his improvement.
Esther's Salad, hard to like.
Once again, best racers on a wet track.
Last 2 on synthetic for the 5 here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the one dirt after wasn't good, but she's a bit of a fuzzy, right?
I guess you can throw out the
debut.
Sure.
I mean, there's only one race on dirt.
Tail for Rob Atras.
I get it. She's one of the ones that can win it.
Here's the one you like, Marion the Irons.
Yeah, to me, this horse showed the kind of run I like from a firster to suggest she's a lot better than that.
4-1, Tower 22. We knew it would take money here. Blinkers on for John Service.
I mean, this is a logical horse if you're against the 2.
And A little interesting, isn't it? Broken zipper on the outside, start number 2.
I don't love the post. Did a little bit of running, but not really my cup of tea, but not impossible. I like the 7. I'm going to bet the 7. I'm worried about the track, but I have to bet the 7.
4 minutes to post. In the 9th to close out this Friday card at Aqueduct, but let's get back to Oaklawn as they load up for race 8. And 5-2. Our favorite at one point was 9-2 in this race, and it was this horse right here. But 5-2, Public settling in on this, also eligible. I got no money that 13 is the one to beat.
My comment on the top of my paper is an absolutely impossible race with a lot of horses who can win. So I think that goes along. Well, the 13 is 5-2. Now, keep in mind, you sort of assume that A's won't get in. I have no issue with the 13 winning this race. I would never bet this horse at 5-2 simply because he's coming off a bad race at Sam Houston. Maybe Steve Aspen just used it as a prep. The race is 2 back, 3 back, 4 back. They're going to make him very, very tough. But I worry about the fact that he's dropping off a lousy race. And he had a bad start.
And he has quite a few starts where he has issues getting out of the gate.
I just don't like that for a short-priced horse. It's one thing if you're getting a price and you think, well, I don't mind taking a shot. The horse is good enough to win, blah, 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 blah. But this is a horse that's 5-2 in a very tough race. I don't disagree. He's the horse to beat if he can run as good races, but you could probably say that about a bunch of these, Greg.
Or the winningest trainer in North American history with his son Keith aboard, who we're going to tell you more about a little later on in the program, and the rapid rise we've seen from Keith Asmussen here in Hot Springs. So he's on the 5-2 favorite. Haya, though, from the rail. Mig loved the way he looked, 5-1. But, yeah, contention, obviously, as the board reflects, runs incredibly deep in this spot. Dazzle Me Silver, the 5, was not far behind that favorite when they met 3 starts ago. Turning back in distance with Tyler Bacon, the young apprentice. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman for the 8th.
Without objection, and Blowtorch. Without objection, the first one to walk in of that pair, and then Blowtorch to the outside post. Another full field here of 12. Here's Blowtorch. Go again. We're ready to go. And Laroff. Haya was a little bit slow from the inside post. Without objection, right to the lead per usual, establishes a clear lead here down the backstretch, but Dazzle Me Silver says no, and Dazzle Me Silver comes forward to take a short lead on Without Objection. King Creek Road in the 3rd position, Rowdy Rascal outside of him. Amazing Success, Haya, and Blowtorch who's deep. That trio's 3 lengths off the pace, another 3 lengths back to I Got No Money, then Hello Hot Rod, Tricky Tracky to the inside going into the far turn run. And being eased up here, Raven's Nest. Raven's Nest pulled up number 10 as they round the far turn. Dazzle Me Silver on the rail as a neck lead Without Objection hounding him. And Rowdy Rascal about to make it a party of 3. He's coming on. Amazing Success sent along outside of horses now. He's producing a bid. Is going to floor it on the grandstand side. Haya still in midfield as they come down the lane. Without Objection, Dazzle Me Silver right together. In the final furlong, they're going at it on the lead. Amazing Success is 3rd. Haya looks beaten at this point. 16th to go. Dazzle Me Silver, ultra game inside of Without Objection. I Got No Money is surging down the outside. Dazzle Me Silver head in front still of Without Objection. Dazzle Me Silver and Without Objection hit the line together, but Dazzle Me Silver got the nose in front of Without Objection. I Got No Money was 3rd. Amazing Success next.
Dazzle Me Silver, 8-1. Nose down, apparently.
On a big drop down, big price.
All right, back to New York. Nightcap coming up. Post time ahead, and the 2-1 favorite, Frankie Hiccups, as we go back to Maggie.
And I guess the big question here with your favorite, Frankie Hiccups, is which version will we get? The 1-2 back where she finished 2nd to Nilo's Rose, who is entered in the Busher tomorrow. She wins here, but then she's eased in her next start and a subsequent layoff. Now, she does get Lasix for this return, and she looks fit enough. She just doesn't look as strong as I'd hoped behind. And 2, she's going to have to run the longest distance she ever has coming in off the bench. I don't know. She wasn't for me necessarily at a short price. I like Andy like number 7, Mary in the irons, because she just looked like she needed to start and more distance. And I think it was a useful effort. She's a little green down the lane, very professional in the prelims, and just looks that much more tucked up. She'll be my selection, but I also respect number 9, Tower 22, who could play out to be the main speed in here, though she'll have to do it from the far outside as those blinkers do go on. A cheater cup for her, big warm up per usual from Kendrick Carmouche. And, with her stretch out, I honestly think she's able to handle it given her physical makeup, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. 2-1 favorite remains Frankie Hiccups. We'll see if we can get a return to that start from 2 starts ago, because the last race, she'll be nowhere.
I want to know who Frankie Hiccups is. That's Maggie's job. This horse wins.
I think you don't want to know.
Really? I don't know. It might be a really nice guy. Our 7 just went from 5-1 to 4-1. I was hoping he'd go the other way, or she would go up to 6-1.
Tower 22, major player Kendrick Carmouche, and Broken Zipper just start number 2 for Mel Giddings on the outside. How will we close things out here in New York? 1 turn mile in this New York bred $30,000 maiden claiming race. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Broken Zipper goes in. All set. And they're off. Speed from in between horses. Savvy Sunset right to the front, and Savvy Sunset is the clear leader. Tower 22 and Broken Zipper towards the outside as they start to bunch up here on this leader. Tail of the Tail is now in the early mix 2, and at the rail, that's Frankie Hiccups. Very tightly bunched, and Savvy Sunset, Luis Rivera Jr. from out of the chute, gets over to the rail, is up by a half length. Here towards the outside, Broken Zipper is ready to challenge, and between horses, Tail of a Tail. Frankie Hiccups is holding the 4th position. Tower 22 has lost some ground, is back there in 5th. Lime green cap is Esther Salad, is to the outside here of I Am Evie. Asaida is towards the back end of the field, and the trailer, Mary, in the irons, 23-4 for that easy opening quarter here for Savvy Sunset. And Savvy Sunset, the long shot, has 4 furlongs left to go, and is clear, is up by 2.5 lengths and doing it very easily. Savvy Sunset trying to win it right now. Right there, under a full drive is Tail of the Tail, and Tail of the Tail is trying to run on. Tower 22 is looming up to the outside of Broken Zipper. That's the front 4. Asaida is launching a rally here from the back. 47-3 was that half-mile time. Also trying to run on is Mary in the irons. Asaida and Mary in the irons making up some ground, but Savvy Sunset is still there. Tower 22 continues to chase, and here comes Tower 22 to the outside of Savvy Sunset, who's trying to find this final furlong, but Tower 22 is trying to push on by. These two are far apart. Can Savvy Sunset re-rally to the inside of Tower 22? A final furlong. Asaida is motoring on the grandstand side, trying to catch the top 2 and getting much, much closer now. Inside the final 16th, Tower 22 has taken the lead. Asaida is lunging late. Tower 22 wins the finale. Tower 22 over Asaida. Then came Savvy Sunset and Mary in the irons in 1 minute 43 seconds flat.
Tower 22 blinkers on. Start number 6, John Service, Kendrick Carmouche. The win to close things out in New York.
Gets it done chasing the outside. The inside speed at 30-1 almost held on and was a little bit clever. And that price, too much to do for the one who got a very good ride, saving ground, angling out with that horse, making the big run towards the end. They were going wildly fast for these horses. 23.93 and 47.73 for this quality of horse. That's moving up front. My 7 who finished 4th, not the right track for her, and she's obviously got some issues she has to get over. But I still think she'll win one of these races, maybe a fairer track, but she's got to sort of get her act together. I'll trust Dave Dongle. Make that happen.
Stubborn.
Plugging in, you see her.
30-1 shot, but finally Tower 22 able to put her away as big late run from Aka Ira.
And the 2 was nowhere off the bad race. Short prices off of bad races.
9-1, 5-7. Tower 22 to close things out here in New York. Kendrick Carmouche takes the nightcap for the barn of John Service. Back with you on our Friday coverage on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by Gainesway Farm. Power, passion, performance. Nightcap in the books. Tower 22. Kendrick Carmouche to close things out for trainer John Service. As you said after we went to break, had a pretty good one back in 2004.
He did. Excellent trainer.
Pennsylvania bred.
Smarty Jones, of course, but also Catherine Sophia.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a very good trainer. He's not going to get some of the opportunities that others get, but an excellent trainer. And that Kendrick Carmouche guy, he's not a bad rider either.
No, he's
See him
not.
get the win.
Had to work to get by this 30-1 shot, though, eventually does.
And then hold off the one.
Yeah. Aka Ira making that late run from way off the pace.
Yep.
Certainly had the best momentum late.
And boy, Frankie Hiccups, that last race. You know, I don't have a lot of those sort of, absolutes, and there are no absolutes in this game, but short prices off terrible races are tough to take.
$7.40 for the win. Pick 6, hit. Modest return.
The 5 wasn't covered.
Well, little surprising.
Yeah, well, yeah, that horse, I mean, as I said, I said she was a bit of a fuzzy, and a friend of mine said to me, they were all fuzzies in that race. Truer words were never spoken.
Dazzle Me Silver. This is a horse who would run very well against I Got No Money, who did go off the favorite, winds up turning the tables in this one.
And this is a trainer who's had decent success with horses cutting back from routes to sprints. Actually, at Oakland, he's now 2 for 3. And Dazzle Me Silver just prevails for the Mig's favorite rider, Tyler Bacon.
Young apprentice.
He
Yeah,
can
give
ride.
him another one here.
Tough down the stretch. 13 made a
Just
run.
barely.
Yeah. 13 looked like for a second he might get there. He did not.
Whew. So $18 winner without objection, just coming up short. That late run from I Got No Money, not enough late. And 5-pound apprentice Tyler Bacon, who Dwayne Lucas has been given some big chances in some big prep races on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Good for him getting the win. As we move on to race 9, mile and an eighth, 4-year-olds and up, $131,000 purse in this allowance optional claiming race.
And Magic Tap, he's obviously the horse to beat. He's got the best resume. And this is a horse that's sort of amazing if you look at him. He's run 10 times in his career. His first race at Keeneland at 6 furlongs behind Saudi Crown, he ran a 68 buyer. He has run a 90-plus buyer in 9 straight races, and that's a credit to him, but also a credit to Steve Asmussen for getting consistently run well, often against some pretty good company. But he's off a layup. He lacks speed. I'm not Laughing Boy's biggest fan, but isn't he completely loose in here?
Yes.
I mean, you could do worse than take a price on him.
Well, as for...
Steve's got to grow his hair back. He's got to get the long hair again.
I miss those locks,
I miss the mane. I have hair envy.
His son, of course, will be riding for the one you were just talking about, who's run all those 90-plus buyer races in a row. And while he has exceptional pedigree, obviously, Keith Asmussen didn't get the benefit, unlike almost any rider in this sport, of learning his trade while being afforded the opportunity of having an apprentice weight allowance, which makes his rapid rise even more remarkable.
Such a privilege coming from a family of jockeys that they understand the trials and tribulations of being a jockey and what it takes mentally and physically. When I first started, I wanted to ride one race more than anything, and this kind of snowballed into something that has blown my wildest expectations.
And it's Ian Glass fending off all the challenges, and he'll prevail going away too.
Today, the Asmussens are better known for training thoroughbreds, thanks to the accomplishments of Keith's father, Steve, who was the only trainer to win 10,000 races in North America.
It's impossible to explain how much fun it is. I mean, I've been unbelievably blessed in horse racing, and I think a lot of it is, growing up, my dad rode, and then my older brother rode and stuff. So the excitement of that, and then to get to relive it with your kids is unbelievable.
I imagine he's got an immense source of pride from it, given that he is, other than horses, taught me about everything I know. Grew up around the racetrack, handicapping races. Hometown Arlington, Texas, 20 minutes away from Lone Star Park. Obviously infatuated with jockey as profession growing up, just having known my father and my uncle and my grandfather, who were all jockeys.
Keith Asmussen's mother, Julie, was an accomplished rider in her own right. She competed in the rodeo event, barrel racing, through high school. And his younger brother, Eric, is the latest Asmussen to forge a path as a jockey. Keith and Eric have already ridden on the same card at several racetracks, just like their uncle and father did at Aqueduct in the 1980s.
It was always, a dream, but I would go as far as saying like a pipe dream of being a jockey. Probably 7th grade, I was about the same size I am now, so I thought I was going to blow right by it.
It was Keith's height and weight that steered him towards a more typical career path after graduating from high school.
Applied to the University of Texas and I got in their business school. I'm an accounting major. I have a 5 years master's degree in professional accounting. And it wasn't until my junior year at college when COVID hit, 2020, that when classes went online, I came to work here at Oaklawn because I'd already, poked my father quite a bit about, is it possible I could ride a race? Before I even rode, my parents made me promise that, once you start, you're not going to want to go back to school. You got to promise you're going to go back to school. And I kept that promise, and I went back for 2 more years, and I got my degrees. And as soon as I graduated, I went straight to the racetrack.
Rivet has won his 3rd straight, and Keith Asmussen has an Oaklawn Stakes victory.
Keith James Asmussen is named after his grandfather, the family patriarch, who rode quarter horses for 38 years. In fact, grandfather and grandson both won a race for Hall of Fame trainer D. Wayne Lucas 54 years apart.
These two to the wire, Papa Rocket.
I love being a jockey. It's such an incredible feeling. There's nothing like the feeling of being on top of a thoroughbred racehorse at full flight. And when you add the art of race riding, it was such a spectacle watching it growing up and just being so attracted to it, and then being able to actually do it, it's beyond words.
Despite the fact that he's a Texas Longhorn, he's very hard not to root for.
No, I hope JK's not watching. He's not going to be happy if you say that. Obviously, he's had great success. He's got a great pedigree for racehorses. And it's hard to believe that Steve rode at one time, but his Uncle Cash, now he was quite a rider.
So much. Both these two, Eric and Keith, so much fun having them on the scene and seeing the success that they're having and how enthusiastic they are about the game.
Are we going to see them in Saratoga?
Potentially.
See?
Be fun. There's the one Keith will ride for Dad. Magic Tap off since April of last year. And as Andy said, that long streak, would you say 9 in a row? 90 or better by your speed figures coming out of 3 straight graded stakes races. Stay with us.
History remembers moments of extraordinary strength, skill, and determination. True greatness is forged by those who fulfill their destiny.
Nominate now for this year's Fasig-Tipton Selected Yearling Sales. The July sale, with a focus on precocious and athletic yearlings, July produces strong results in the sales ring and on the racetrack. Last year's sale produced the highest median in the sales history, with 46% of yearlings sold, bringing $100,000 or more. The 104th Saratoga sale, the crown jewel of American yearling sales, Saratoga smashed every record in its 103-year history, led by a $3.4 million sale topper. Saratoga also produces the highest percentage of Grade 1 winners of any North American yearling sale, led by recent Breeders' Cup Classic winner Sierra Leone. New York bred yearlings, the leading marketplace for New York breds, held during the Saratoga race meet. Last year's sale set the highest median in the sales history. Selected sales, superior results. Visit selectedyearlings.fasigtipton.com to nominate now for our 2025 Selected Yearling Sales.
Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen said, "Gun Pilot is an absolute beast. He has a lot of gun runners' great traits. He is a bigger and stronger version and was extremely talented. His easy Grade 1 win in the 7-furlong Churchill Downs Stakes proved everything I knew.
The gold, but it's Gun Pilot. Gun Pilot and Christian Torres.
Gun Pilot is Gunrunner's only son to retire to stud this year. New to Three Chimneys.
Back on our Friday coverage, you're watching America's Day at the Races, Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you by Hillendale at Alapa. As we have the feature to come on the Friday card from Hot Springs, mile and an eighth, allowance optional claiming field of purse of $131,000. There's the one Keith Asmussen. We just showed you the feature on him. Will ride for Dad coming up off the long layoff.
And I think it's up to Keith to try to get him in the game. He's not a horse that has to be that slow, but I think as he's gotten older, he doesn't have the speed he once had. And so that worries me a little bit because doesn't it just seem like it helps to be forward at Oaklawn recently? We saw it over the weekend. I think we've seen it a bit today, and that worries me. And I'm not Laughing Boy's biggest fan, but I'm worried that Laughing Boy could be dangerous up front. But I think Magic Tap is the most talented horse in the race.
But yeah, maybe a little bit compromised and may need one.
Well, I'll give you some numbers. 250-plus day layoffs in dirt routes at Oaklawn. Steve Asmussen is just 1 for 11 with only 3 hitting the board. Now, they weren't short-priced horses, so I don't think it's that bad. And overall, he's 23% with a $1.60 ROI, which isn't that bad. But overall, he's not a trainer that cranks his horses up off layoffs. Doesn't mean he can't win just off his talent, but one of the reasons for Steve's success is he doesn't gear them up off the layoffs, especially routers.
8-5, nevertheless, on the return for this 5-year-old. Well, the post parade coming up in a moment. Let's shift back to New York, and a big one we have on the road to that first Saturday in May. Here tomorrow, it's our ABR race of the week. Grade 3 Gotham, 1 turn mile, 10 will line up, including, as you've told us several times, 3 New York breds, 2 of them. Top 2 choices on the board in Sacrosanct and Sand Devil, who come in undefeated.
Yeah, and Sacrosanct, I mean, he was lucky to win last time because a horse who was 4th got in trouble, but he still ran a huge race and would have been best even in defeat. I don't have a knock on Sand Devil. He's just a flat-out good horse. He's going to have to work and earn it. He's going to have to deal with Sacrosanct, put him away, and beat any closers. He's a very good horse, and he comes in here, I think, as the most talented entrant in the race. But there's another horse in here that can run, and I'm going to try to beat him.
Well, Sand Devil, perfect 3 for 3, coming off his best figure yet that he's run. That was in stakes competition in the Damon Runyon. Even though the margin was not that big, it was the fastest race he had ever run. Next door to him, though, again, yes, another New York bred, 4 for 4. He comes in perfect as well, who was a 3-time stakes winner against New York breds. Both these two facing open company for the first time.
But he's going to have to win this race with Sand Devil breathing down his throat, put him away, and hold off the closers. Maybe it happens, but that is a very tall task. But you got a horse like this, there's nothing wrong with finding out early whether or not they belong with the bigger boys. And if it doesn't work out for him, they'll go back to New York bred company. He's good. He's a talented horse. I don't deny it. Look at a very game win coming back here. And the horse he's beating National Identity is the one who came back in his next start and gave Sand Devil all he could handle. Let me throw out a weirdo horse in here. It's not my top choice. Scorching on the Rail. He's never run on dirt. He's run on synthetic and turf up at Woodbine. But on those surfaces, he ran figures that are almost competitive with these as a 2-year-old. He hasn't run in 5 months since October 6th. But his trainer, now keep in mind Woodbine has a dirt track as their training track. His trainer's had this horse in New York for at least 2 months getting ready for this race. Training over at Belmont on the training track, a dirt surface. I don't believe he would be bringing him here if he didn't think he could handle it. And he's got a pedigree that suggests he can handle all surfaces on the dam side as well as the sire side. I think he might be an interesting horse trying the dirt for the first time, and he's going to be a very big price.
He might have some speed, too. He's shown some sprint speed, at least on
synthetic. He's not slow. He can be forwardly placed. He should be forwardly placed in here. I agree.
Got a Chad Brown runner, too, making just his 2nd start. Garamond with a lot of seemingly upside, part of 4 stakes on our Saturday coverage tomorrow.
Yeah, Calling Card, whose mile race here was gigantic, and he didn't do as well out of town, but I think he's interesting. The New York bred coming back here. It's a very, very fun race. Looking forward to covering it, talking about it, and watching it in all of these races.
ABR race of the week on the road to that first Saturday in May, and trying to get Linda Rice and company into that Kentucky Derby starting gate. Sand Devil Going to be fun as we get back to Oaklawn. Post-parade for race 9 coming up. This is a fun race, too. There's a lot of contenders in here.
I agree.
We'll start on the rail. Norm Cassie and Game Warden, who's been off since November, New Gelding.
Isn't this horse kind of like the epitome of the Flying P story? Ran huge races, better than he'd ever run up in Saratoga, 2 of them. Goes to Churchill, and he stinks in 2 starts. As they say, runs much worse in his races. Now we haven't seen him for 4 months nearly. I don't know what to expect from him, but I can't believe he's going to run back to that Saratoga form, and he better if he's going to win this race.
Yeah. Those were back-to-back wins with career best performances.
Huge races.
Yeah.
He beat Yo Daddy, who's maybe the horse to beat in the Stymie tomorrow. Time Out, who, by the way, won in the grass the other day.
So 9-1, here he is for the comeback, and see if he can put those back-to-back poor performances behind him as a New Gelding. Black Powder comes off a big win.
He does. Now, it wasn't a muddy track, but it's the best race he's ever run.
Winnemac Avenue, another one who ran a very fast race last start.
Yeah, and he's got some sprinkled races that are good enough to win here and be effective.
Christian Torres rides there 7-1. Magic Tap, so here he is, off since April of last year.
Well, he's easy to see, and he's been a very consistent runner. Can he be close enough to get the right trip?
Red Run, Ron Moquette.
Just a better turf horse.
Does Masked Parade still have those good races in him?
I don't know. He once would have been a major player in here. It just feels like his form is declining significantly.
Laughing Boys, you said, going to try and lead the way.
I bet a couple dollars on him. He's the controlling speed. I'll take a shot. He wires him.
And speed bias, Ron Moquette outside, just missed by a neck last start.
He's another horse who could be forward in this race, and I thought he ran fairly well last time.
Off a long layoff.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's impossible. And Ron's barn's going very well. This has got to be one of the best meets he's ever had at Oakland. His horses are running very well, and as we said, not with short-priced horses. I got to look up his ROI. I bet it's substantial.
7-2 on speed bias on the outside. Let's go to Mig.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, actually, Steve and I have been going to the same person to get our hair cut, so we're doing okay. Steve, Magic Tap coming off a layoff. He's faced some real good ones. His Razorback last year was a bang-up effort. What do you expect from him off the bench?
Well, hopefully his attitude doesn't get in the way and he leaves the gates a little better than he did in the last couple of his races last year. You know, I think he needs to be, top 3 early. Just trying to get him back going again. Like you said, he's run a couple good races here at Oaklawn Park, and there's still time to get in the big ones. So hopefully today's a step in the right direction.
I know you prepare a horse for what's directly in front of them. Do you feel like you have him fit enough to win off the bench?
I do if he gets away cleanly and stuff. Off of the bench, he needs to do things right.
Steve, a little bit of a slow start at this meet, but really got rolling now. Do you think the weather was kind of difficult for you to train through with the stops and starts here?
I mean, if you're not extremely comfortable with what you're getting to do with them, I'm not as aggressive. If I'm very comfortable with what I've gotten to do with them, then I am considerably more aggressive. You just don't want any excuses, and there's plenty of meat left.
Plenty of meat, long meat here.
Yes.
Now, as a father, right? you know, Eric won the Eclipse Award.
Yeah,
Keith, 99 wins, looking for his 100th Oaklawn Park win. That's kind of a nice milestone. What's it like to see your sons have this success and be such a big part of it?
It's impossible to measure, and for coming from a racing family and knowing the feeling of what it's like for everything, hoping for, wishing, and praying for the same outcome, it's just an incredible blessing. I mean, everybody knows, I'm hard on them. They've heard it, and we expect nothing but the best from them. But can't say how proud I am of how they respond, take the pressure, and perform.
And that's how they're going to continue to get better, right?
I mean, right. Either win or watch. That's how this game works, and we love that. It's not a judged event. First one to the wire wins. You're happy if you win. You're miserable if you lose.
Love it. Thanks so much for taking the time. Best of luck here. Guys, either you win or you watch. I like that one.
Well, I haven't heard that before. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of is it the Pat Riley rhyme? There's 2 things, winning and misery.
Yeah.
I think that was something he said. And he's not wrong. You know, that's the game. But you have to celebrate the wins because you're going to have a lot of losses and a lot of misery. It's a tough game. But Steve has certainly had some huge success in his career as well. And he's had some crushing defeats. I mean, for me, I got to think he just still has nightmares about that Derby, losing to Rich Strike with Epicenter.
Like it was wrapped up.
Getting in off the also eligibles to beat him in the A's.
An 81 to 1 shot.
Right.
Runs you down.
I mean, the one race everyone wants to win. Steve, who's won just about anything any trainer could win, you want to win it. And I don't care who you are or what horses you have, you're always going to say to yourself, you know, am I ever going to get back with a chance to win? And it's got to be very frustrating. You know, with Epicenter, he took tough beats. He took a tough beat behind early voting in the Preakness. I mean, this is a horse that really was unlucky in both of those races in a lot of ways. And
made up for it in the Travers, though, didn't he?
He did. I mean, obviously things came together in the summer for him, and he showed what he could do, that horse, a very, very good horse. But the Derby's different, right? You know, but then again, you think about Bob Baffert, right? His first Derby with Cavalier gets beat an absolute zop, and I think I was like a lot of people thinking, and I didn't know much about Bob at the time, thinking that poor guy, he'll never get back to the Derby.
He thought the same thing. He might never get the chance.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it worked out pretty well for him as it turned out. But, you know, it's like, you know, with Chad Brown with Sierra Leone losing by a nose. Obviously at the end of the year he wins the Breeders' Cup Classic. It's still never going to erase the agony of losing that race by a nose. That race more than any other race.
The feeling he's going to have a few more shots at it.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Mig.
Yeah, guys, we'll just pick up where we left off with the 4 Magic Tap. I will say, you know, for a 5-year-old horse by Tappet, looked very fit off the bench. I like what Steve had to say, too, about wanting to break clean and be in the, you know, the first flight of horses. He felt that was a key to success here. Looks terrific as your favorite. The 7-horse, Laughing Boy. This is a horse that does his best work when he's able to make the lead. And Sam Camacho seems to have this horse's whole card, if you will, and he's aggressive on him. And I think you're going to see a better version of Laughing Boy. Last time he just was not himself. He didn't, very fast pace in the tinsel, in the mud. I think he's going to be forward, and I think you'll see a much improved effort from the 7 Laughing Boy. And then Speed Bias looks terrific from the outside post. Going to have to work out a trip. But, you know, Ron Marquette is having such a good meet, and his horses look good, and they're running to their look. Sometimes it doesn't always add up. It doesn't always, equate. But with Ron's horses, it's been really working, and Speed Bias is no exception, guys.
Just saying to you, he's got a $2.32 ROI with 106 stars at Oaklawn. And I don't think, if you don't realize how good that is, it's very, very hard to show a positive ROI with a reasonable number of starters. Very few trainers do it.
There's his horse, Ron Moquette, Speed Bias, outside post. I was Rafael Bejarano back in the irons off a long time away, just missed, was just behind Winnemac Avenue. They'll meet again, but if he can improve, second off the bench, going to be very tough in here. Take a look at that race. Back on January 17th.
Yeah, no, I think he ran fine in here. I think Winnemac Avenue ran fine in this race as well. I think you have to ask yourself sort of where they're going to be placed. Now, I think that Speed Bias has some speed, and it's kind of up to Rafael Bejarano to get position with him. I don't love that he had less speed coming off the layup, but that was a mile. This is a mile and an eighth, and he's got to leave for position behind the likely speed, the 7 Laughing.
So Winnemac Avenue, he was coming off a bit of a layoff too, not as long as the 8. You're getting 6 to 1 right now.
He shouldn't be 6 to 1 in the 8, 7 to 2, because both of these horses have back races that are good. So I don't see why the 3 can't win, and he's got a much better post. So I agree with you. Of the 2, I would 7 to 1. He's twice the price. That's to me is
bet,
silly. I'm with you completely on that.
Wow.
Couldn't agree more.
Meanwhile, even money, Magic Tap off the long time away.
That's a bad gamble to me.
Short number. Haven't seen him since April. Don't have a lot to go off of. Yeah, short layoff from November to January. Ran very good in a winning performance, but this is a different ball game.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with him, but it's not like he towers over the field.
No.
And he's coming off a layoff. He doesn't have a lot of speed. I think he's being way overbet at even money. This is a much, much more competitive field than him being even money in here, in my opinion. I think you agree, and I think they're a little bit overly seduced by the 3 big stake races he's coming out of. That was a long time ago, almost a year.
Meanwhile, can Winamac Avenue, the 3, build off that good effort back on January 17th, just out finishing Speed Bias? He's 7-1. Matt Dinnerman, the call.
We wait on Speed Bias. Speed Bias to the outside post to round out the field of 8. We're ready to go. And Lyroff getting squeezed at the break was Laughing Boy. Magic Tap had no problems coming out of there. It is prominent in the early stages. Game Warden has asked for speed. Speed Bias in that mix. Laughing Boy wants to be on the pace and is pretty intent on getting towards the lead here. Game Warden with a head in front. Laughing Boy after getting squeezed at the break. Not a desirable beginning for him as he's a front runner, but he's going to move up and grab the lead. And it's going to be Laughing Boy trying to clear off here from Game Warden, who takes a hold. Laughing Boy does so, clears off, and gets towards the rail, leads a length and a tail. Speed Bias on a strong hold. He's now asked to relax second, so is Game Warden tucked in third inside of the gray Magic Tap. Then comes Mask Parade. He's 4 lengths off the pace with Black Powder to the inside, 1.5 lengths to Winamac Avenue, and Red Run is at the back of the field as they head down the back stretch. 5 lengths from first to last, a compact group of 8, and Laughing Boy on a loose rein setting the pace, 3/4 of a length ahead. Speed Bias in a good gallop, pressing now from the outside, a 1/2 length back, making a neck as Laughing Boy is only a neck in front. Speed Bias turning up the pressure. Now Game Warden's gotten outside. He's in the 3 path going into the 4 turn run. He broke on the rail and into the first turn. He was on the fence. Now he's 3 deep, sent along a little bit here. Mask Parade getting closer. He's going okay at a price. Black Powder to the inside retreats to 5th. Magic Tap is sent along. Outside of him, Winamac Avenue is following his move, and the trailer still Red Run as they come to the top of the lane. Speed Bias has put away Laughing Boy. He's dropping right out of it now. Game Warden outside of him. Speed Bias drifts wide coming off the turn. Mask Parade, now he finds a seaman, comes charging between horses. Game Warden with a narrow lead. Mask Parade there. Speed Bias, Black Powder to the inside. 4 runners across the track as they hit the 16th pole now. Game Warden grandstand side. Mask Parade trying to reel him in. Black Powder to the inside. Speed Bias in tight. Game Warden in front. Game Warden sees it out. Game Warden over Black Powder, then Mask Parade, and Speed Bias was 4th.
Game Warden, so good. Saratoga this summer wins this duel with 4 of them vying for it up on the lead in the stretch.
Now, I'm always happy to see my friend Norm Cassie get the win, and maybe the magic is back for Flying P getting this win. It's a weird race. A very good ride by Isaac Castillo, threading the needle coming up the rail with the 2 as the field kind of bunched. And you know what? Magic Tap needed the race. I mean, as simple as that. And his streak of 90-plus buyers likely got broken here. You see the 8 steadying late. I don't think anything happened. I don't know if they'll look at it. There is an inquiry at this point. Maybe we can get a head on. But there definitely something happened there. Can we watch at least? Here we go. Let's just take a look. Okay. The 8 is in the red, and listen, Vasquez is doing the best he can. The 1 is clearly lugging in, and he's trying to stop him from lugging in. He's got a very strong left-handed crop there coming in. Oh, that was the Migliori school of acting. I mean,
he dropped out of it at
that
point anyway,
I gotta say, Bejarano looked like, I think that Bejarano went to the Richard Migliori school of acting there. How about you?
Yeah, I was better than that. Come on. I don't really see anything that would warrant a disqualification. I think Ramon Vasquez did a phenomenal job on Game Warden. He was trying to lug in, and he was riding that fine line of keeping him going forward, but stopping him from lugging in and actually bothering a horse. And if you're going to sell it, at least make it for the win. Don't make it for, 3rd or 4th. Make it where it really counts, and then you got to bounce off the saddle and really sell it. I really have a hard time seeing a change in this order of finish, guys.
He did get bumped by the horse to his inside.
Well, let me ask you a question, Richie.
Back.
I think he got bumped by the horse inside him because the 8 was coming in. Richie, did you feel that was the case?
I actually do think that contributed to it. No doubt was the inside horse coming out into him as well. Sometimes when a rider is being so responsible like Ramon Vasquez was on Game Warden, it almost points out like that, oh, well, that horse is lugging in. But he did such a good job of keeping him straight. You would hate to see something like this get overturned. I really don't think this was on the winner whatsoever.
I don't think the winner's even involved in this, do you?
Well, they're going to say he came over, but I agree. I agree with you, Greg, and I think we all sort of agree. I think the 8 sort of caused that by lugging in on the horse inside of him, who I think was Masquerade. And then, by the way, the stewards are absolutely right to be looking at this. I just believe there will be absolutely no change in here whatsoever. And I don't believe there should be a change. I think it would be criminal if this horse came down, to be honest with you. And Vasquez did a sensational job, like Richie said, of keeping him going forward while lugging in. It was a very good ride by him, and not easy.
Yeah, the one that made it tight but never really caused any interference, and it was a horse to the inside of the 8.
Yeah, and he's
the 6.
He looks to be coming over a bit in that head-on, but he's clear at that point. Nah, this is the right thing looking at it. The wrong thing would be any kind of change in this race, and I think there won't be. But the good news is, with the inquiry, Greg, we can get home even later.
Let me ask you this, as we go back to Mig. So the 6 did finish ahead of the 8. The 6 did bump the 8 a little bit, but the 8 was the 8 backing up at that point already? What do you think, Mig?
Yeah, it feels to me like the 8 had given his best shot speed bias and was flattening out when anything occurred. Way it appeared to me. This is the worst feeling for a rider. You've won the race, and now you've got to sweat out the inquiry, wait for your chance to talk to the stewards. And even if you're feeling confident that you didn't do anything that would warrant a disqualification, when that number is blinking and you've got to talk to them, it is just such a stressful time. I would really feel bad for him. I think Ramon Vasquez rides a good race. I
Time
think
for the
he rode a
bettors
very
too, Richie.
responsible race here. Oh no! Listen, no doubt about it. But at that moment, you're like the loneliest person in the world when you're standing on the racetrack, looking at the big screen and watching what took place and getting your story straight to talk to the stewards. Now, personally, I like talking to the stewards because I have the gift of gab. Some guys didn't speak as well as I did, and I talked my way out of a couple of spots and talked my way into a couple of spots as well.
And the modesty really is what impresses me the most in that circumstance. I think the 8 was coming in. I think the 8 caused all his own problems here. I think it would be a crime if there was any kind of change here.
But if there is, it's more Masquerade who's in trouble for 3rd, would you think?
I don't think the 6 did anything either. I think the 8 was lugging in. I just don't think there should be absolutely any change whatsoever in this. And I feel completely unbiased. I mean, I'd say if I'm biased at all, it's because I'm friends with Norm Cassie, who trains the 1, but I just don't see that anything happened. And to me, I look at things as a bettor, and this is a great view. And for me as a bettor,
3 across the 8
right,
from the rail.
The 8's in pink. Let's keep watching. The 1 is clearly off of him. He is by him at this point, and that makes it clear to me. This would be
I think it's more with the 6.
I know. I think they were going. It was mutual. I think the 8 came in, the 6 came out. It was pretty tight there.
50-50?
I just, as a bettor, I believe very strongly that there should, if you are looking at and you're sort of wishy-washy, it should stay. The ones that come down, and it's going to stay. It's going to stay.
Yeah.
It does.
Signs come down.
Unless you say, we've seen a lot of DQs where we go, this horse has to come down. It's very rare. I think if there is an argument back and forth, it should stay. That's what I think. I think if there are valid points on both sides, they should never make a change.
No change made. Game Warden with the win. That Saratoga form. He gets back to it here off the bench for his 5-year-old return. Wins at 8-1. Back on our Friday coverage, little drama in the feature. Victory upheld. And $19 winner, Game Warden. Wins for the 5th time in 20 career starts. Norm Cassie, Ramon Vasquez, Flying P Stable. Let's go to Mig.
Yeah, I just think a terrific ride from Ramon. Ramon, Game Warden looks like a difficult horse to ride. If you're not pedaling, he's not running. He's a true bicycle horse.
Yeah, that's the way, thank you the owner, thank you the trainer for the opportunity. Yeah, that's the way we're talking about early. That's the kind of horse you have to do like a bicycle, you have to pedal all the time. You have to put in the game, and then the kind of horse, he likes being in the clear and not being in traffic. So, doesn't make it hard, but the hard work make it the good win.
But from post one, you were able to get that trip to the outside, and he was lugging in through the stretch, and I thought you was the perfect balance, keeping him going forward, but not bothering the horses inside of you.
Yeah, it's so hard sometimes with kind of horse like this with the one hole. So you try the be aggressive from the gate and put him in a good spot. I'm glad, thank God, I can put in the good spot on the backside. So, and the stress, it legging in a little bit, but I can control him, I think so I was clear, and, thank God we got the victory.
Ramon, we had you with us in Saratoga over the summer. Really enjoyed watching you ride up there. You think we might see you again this summer?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to talk with my agent and see what happened, what are the decisions we take after here. And really, I would like to go back to Saratoga. It's a beautiful place. I love being raised over there. We got good friends and good person like you, and everybody over there is so sweet. So hopefully I can come back.
Well, congratulations. Great job here. Guys, he rode it perfect. Horse trying to lug in, kept him going forward, kept him as straight as possible.
So we'll see. Yeah, maybe we'll get to see him again this summer, Saratoga. But very good ride, difficult horse to handle down the stretch, and he was able to get right to that line and not have any interference happen.
Richie has a great ability to condense situations as riders very well, and what he was talking about with the fine line of the horse lugging in, keeping him straight while continuing to go forward, and that's what he did there, and that made the difference. That's not an easy situation, and you've got to be a strong rider. That was a sensational ride by him all around.
Well done, Ramon Vasquez, Game Warden. Those two sensational efforts. Saratoga, form had seemingly gone south.
And I just want to say, since I handicapped this race on Monday, Greg, this is the race I've been waiting for. A lot of people are interested in tomorrow. This maiden claiming race to close out the card at Oaklawn, this is the one, the Archiebreds, I've been waiting for.
State bred race at 20, maiden claiming group, 6 furlong sprint. The favorite right now, Devilish Gal. That is the 8 who is making start number 2 and dropping in class from a Arkansas-bred maiden special weight back in March.
Well, I mean, this horse has all the accoutrements to be a favorite, right? She's run once. It was back in March of last year. She was 8th, beaten 17 lengths. How this horse isn't the horse to beat, I just don't know why. One thing I'll say, she did make a little bit of a middle move before completely stopping. I mean, in this field, I guess...
That was against a lot better.
There is a Mark Valesky here, and that should be the trivia question. And I forget his name, but the best Mark Valesky ever. He was the Chad Brown-Klarovich horse that was second to Vekoma in the Carter and the Met Mile, and I'm forgetting his name. But anyway.
Think on that.
Those Mark Valeskys, those running Mark Valeskys.
As we take a timeout, we'll probably get an answer on Twitter when we return. We'll be back. Nightcap still to come from Oaklawn, and the dream continuing for 71-year-old Lonnie Briley. What a story it has been with his Derby contender, Cole Battle, who remains undefeated on dirt. We'll see what's next as those Derby dreams continue. Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
At the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, we believe in giving every thoroughbred a second chance.
And thanks to you, the owners, trainers, breeders, and every supporter, you've created a ripple effect of change that's helping these magnificent animals move on to new careers and safe, fulfilling lives after racing.
Every single donation, whether big or small, is contributing to a brighter future.
But this race is just beginning. Because of you, we have gained incredible momentum, and we're ready for more.
These New York bred foals represent many sires: War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at NYRA tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
I'm 72 years old. My daddy was in the oil field, but my cousins and uncles and all them was in the horse business. Went training, I guess, around 1991. You know, I had a few of the lower end horses and stuff, and you're always trying to upgrade and look for a good one. And about 11 years ago, I met Robbie Norman. I was actually at a training center, and him and his brother, Mark Norman, had was going through the barns and meeting all the trainers, and then they came back to my barn and decided to send me a couple of horses, and that's where it started. You just like attention. I was at the Texas sale, and I had 3 horses on my short list, and he was one of them. You know, I liked him, and so I called Robbie and told him hip number so-and-so, this was the one we liked. He ended up buying him. I ran him in the juvenile. He got in trouble in the first part of the race. Horse bumped him a couple of times, and the rider took him back and then made a big run at the end. He ran 4th, galloped out 5-6 lengths in front of the winners, and so it kind of caught me, there, that I said, this horse could be okay, I went to Delta Downs and ran him in the Genre Feet, and he won that pretty handily. And then we went to Oklahoma for the Springboard Mile, and he was like 5 lengths out of it at the quarter pole, and he come running and won that. Picked up 10 points and winning that, and the Smarty Jones picked up 10 points winning that. Then you start thinking, Robbie, my owner, he's excited, him and his family, and it's their first experience to maybe go to the Derby. And I've never thought about going to the Derby, and I never thought I'd have that kind of horse, and I still don't know. The horses are happy, we happy, and hopefully everything works out.
Really cool story that is just continuing to go on and on, moving this horse to the dirt. He has not lost since. He just keeps winning Derby preps.
And I won't lie, I said in the show, I didn't think he was good enough to win this race, and he really ran well. I mean, he got a good trip, but the track was very kind to speed, and he just keeps running, and he keeps running better in all his races, and it is a really good story. I mean, I know there are stories in the Triple Crown Trail, and sometimes they're a little overhyped. This one doesn't seem to be overhyped. This guy, he wins in the front end, he can close, he puts in his run. He's a very easy horse to root for, and his connections are easy to root for as well. And these are the kind of good stories you like in horse racing.
And regardless,
and he's good. He's legit, too. He's not a fraud, this horse. He's good.
Regardless of whether he keeps it going or not. I mean, it has been one of, if not the best stories on the road to the Derby we've seen this year. We'd love to see him keep going, and we'll see if he lines up in that Arkansas Derby. He has the points already to get into that starting gate.
And I'm already hoping we see him in Saratoga, whether Belmont Stakes or Saratoga during the summer. He's that kind of good horse, and it's nice to see these connections doing so well with him. And clearly, he's done a superior job training this horse, and he shows up and runs big every time. This was a really nice effort last time, and you have to love the improvement. A young horse like this, never been beaten on a fast dirt track. It's a lot of things to like about this horse.
And Mig, I know you say it a lot. There's a lot of big-name trainers who get a lot of these big, expensive horses. We see them in these big races a lot. But there's a lot of other trainers out there like Lonnie Briley, when given a chance, showing us what they can do.
Well, Lonnie Briley's one of those horsemen that, people in the industry knew for years what kind of a horseman he was, picking out horses, breaking horses. He worked for John Franks for a number of years. And now he gets this opportunity later in life on the big stage. He's doing everything right. He's handling everything so well. And there's an appreciation there that you just have to admire. This horse is legit, like Andy said. He's not the biggest individual, but he is so well balanced. He is a true athlete. He's 5 for 5 on dirt. He's versatile. He doesn't need a particular kind of trip. If anything, Lonnie Briley feels he's better when he has pace and a target, horses to run at. And now with the points that he has, and with the Rebel victory, he has the luxury of making a decision what's best. He doesn't have to cram for the exam, right? He's got the points already, and if he feels like he needs more time, he'll train him up to the Derby. If he feels like he's, tearing the barn down, he could use another run, he'll go in the Arkansas Derbies. But the pressure's off of them as far as getting into the starting gate, and I just think it's a tremendous story, and this is what keeps this game as great as it is. It's an amazing game. You never know where a good horse is going to come from, and you never know when that opportunity is going to present itself. The only thing you can do is be prepared and ready for that opportunity.
Connections didn't even know this horse was going to do what he's been doing. They thought it was a turf horse initially.
My girl ran her first 2 races on the turf as well. Whatever the case is, he's a fun horse, and he's a good, improving horse, and you wish them well going forward. And he's a terrific story heading towards the Derby right now. He's the best story out there. He may not end up being good enough in the Derby, but they'll never take away the performance he's put forth. He's a good horse.
Take a look at that leaderboard as we're getting closer and closer to that first Saturday in May in Colt Battle, up at the top right now. So yes, he has the points to get in, and we'll wait and see if he does use that Arkansas Derby as a final tightener. You look at this list, and we talked about Captain Cook. I think we're very excited to see off that big performance in New York and what he does next to the Wood Memorial. Who else kind of grabs your attention?
Well, I mean, they're the horses that, and I'm going to update my top 10 after Saturday's races, but Citizen Bull and Colt Battle have to be on the list. I think Sandman still should be on the list. Captain Cook should be on the list. Burnham Square, we'll see what he does Saturday. Should be on the list. That's 5 of them. I'm just going through it, sort of looking at it.
Sovereignty, maybe? We'll see what he does.
Sovereignty, we'll see what he's doing. So he's one of them as well. Those are 6, but we'll see. Obviously Barnes and Journalist and those horses out in California. So we'll see. Well, it's interesting to see what Barnes does stretching out. That's a big question. Obviously, a lot of people have him very highly rated. He's still going to have to show that he belongs and deserves that rating.
First time for 2 turns for him. Yep. $3.2 million horse for Bob Baffert. Meanwhile, Fountain of Youth, the other big Derby prep coming up over the weekend. Mile on the 16th. And Sovereignty, as mentioned, will line up here, as will Holy Bull winner, Burnham Square for Ian Wilkes.
I am rooting for Burnham Square. I've known Ian Wilkes for years. To know Ian Wilkes is to like Ian Wilkes. And, you were talking a lot about Lonnie Briley's story, and I know Ian Wilkes worked for Carl Nafzger when they won with Unbridled and a lot of success, but he's not exactly a household name in racing, and to see him with a horse like this, I think it's just great, and I'd love to see this horse continue to do well for him. So I'm rooting for this guy. This is if somebody said to me, who are you rooting for? I'm rooting for Burnham Square. And he's a good horse, making that big run. Now he's got to obviously get tested. You've got Sovereignty coming back, and I think I can understand why Bill Mott a little bit worried, at closing at Fountain at Gulfstream, but Burnham Square has done it. You've got 2 Todd Pletcher horses in Gate to Wire and River Thames who have run fast dirt races. They have 3 dirt races between them. I think they're very dangerous horses in here. Sovereignty has to be considered a dangerous horse. I mean, his win at Churchill basically came from last top of the stretch. Now, was he beating any killers? Well, I don't think Tistastic's a bum. And that horse Sandman, who was 3rd in there, is not a bad horse either. Now, he's improved since then. he ran extremely well in his prior start when he almost ran down Prater, who's a very promising horse for Chad Brown. And last night I talked to Chad Brown. Chad was hoping to get him the Derby. He said he had to make a race. I think it's next weekend. Now, that was about a month ago, so I don't know where he stands on that. But his second place finish was good. His debut was very good. And I remember after his debut, a friend of mine who's good friends with Dan Pride from Godolphin said to me after that fourth at Saratoga, this is the Godolphin horse that they have a lot of hopes for being a Derby horse. And, I really liked that effort. It kind of reminded me of Sun King, who finished fourth in his debut up in Saratoga. His second effort, a loss, was very good. Sovereignty's a good horse. We'll find out just how good he is in the next couple months.
Big effort to end the 2-year-old campaign. You would expect natural progression coming forward, and has enough time to get 2 preps in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Everybody talks about Bill Mott. He got placed first in the Derby. Trust me, when he got the check, it was just fine. I'm sure Bill was good with it. But it's amazing. We saw him win his first Whitney last year with Arthur's Ride. He's got a Derby win, but he's never finished first in the race. And Sovereignty could be the one for him. And also for Godolphin, they haven't won a Derby, right?
No.
It's not like the old days when they were trying to buy horses to get to the Derby and, breeding a lot of these horses. Most of their horses are homebreds, and it doesn't feel like it's going to work out with East Avenue after the debacle in the, was it Risen Star where he ran so badly?
Yeah.
But Sovereignty, there's a lot of reasons to be confident that he could be a good one.
Very interesting Saturday afternoon on the road to the Derby and, of course, the ABR Race of the Week coming up from right here in New York. In the Gotham, also San Felipe out west. And what will we get from that $3.2 million son of Intermission for Bob Baffert and Barnes? Undefeated, 2 for 2, first time going 2 turns.
It'll be interesting. And it'll be interesting to see how the pace plays out because he is faster than journalism. Are they going to rate Rodriguez again and let him get the front the same way they did with Citizen Bull? I know he was 6-1 in a Derby pool, and I just think that's just... You're better off just incinerating your money than taking 6-1 on horses like this early in their careers. Obviously, he's an enormous amount of promise, and he's run well in both of his races. But he ran a 93 buyer in here. Coal Battle won a 91 buyer. He's unseasoned. We'll see how he stretches out. There's no reason not to be confident in Bob Baffert, but I'm not anointing him a Derby winner just because he cost $3.2 million.
No, far from it.
And I think
Rodriguez is good.
Yeah,
his stablemate is a real serious racehorse who, he got beat by Citizen Bull last time out, but he does have that 100 buyer and that maiden win 2 back, and he's still he's lightly raced.
It just sort of reminds me of when they were rating Medina Spirit behind Life is Good. Now, obviously, Life is Good was a remarkable horse and unfortunately got hurt and he missed the Triple Crown races, but they rated him last time. It's like they didn't want Citizen Bull to have to rate, so they rated him even though he's faster than Citizen Bull. We'll see what he can do, and I think he's a much better horse if he struts his stuff on the front end. And it'll be interesting to see what Bob does, because obviously the horse ran well in the Rebel that was second. Monomoy, the Monomoy horse that was second in the Rebel. Went to the front. Whatever. He's in there somewhere. He's probably the PPs. Monomoy Road. Madacat Road. Excuse me. I don't think he's a legitimate Derby horse, whereas I think Barnes and Rodriguez both could be. If they both run well, aren't they going to split them up? One goes to the Santa Anita Derby, where Citizen Bull is also probably going to go. So what does Bob do among Barnes, Rodriguez, and Citizen Bull heading towards the Derby? He's got, one can run in Santa Anita, one probably could come here, one could go to the Bluegrass, the Arkansas Derby. There are other options for those horses. It'll be interesting to see what he does because all 3 of them are potentially major players for the Derby.
And of course, he's back, eligible again for the first time after that being away, and he's coming back with some serious contenders now. We'll see. But this is the hype horse, though, that everyone's been talking about.
Well, when you cost $3.2 million, you go to the racetrack and run well, you're going to get a lot of hype. And when you're trained by Bob, you're going to get even more, and justifiably so.
Finale at Oak Lawn.
This is it.
Here we go. 6 furlongs.
It's emotional time right now.
State-bred $20,000 maiden claiming race. This damsel may fly 0 for 7.
Well, there's no such thing as a non-contender in this race, but this is not one for me.
Presley's turn actually was in stakes competition as a maiden.
Yes, and does have a good race in the slop, but appears to be better on the slop.
Very cosmopolitan Ron Moquette.
I wouldn't take 2-1 on a horse in this race. If you told me here's 100, the only way you can have it is if you bet it on the 2-1 favorite.
This one seems a little hard to make.
A little tough to make this one. Thus 49-1.
Honduras Passion 0 for 16.
Yeah, also tough to make. Only 9-1? What's so different about this horse than the 5? Whatever.
She's a Devil Woman at 23 to 1, start number 2.
I guess she is. Didn't run well in her one start.
No. Devilish Gal, McLean Robertson trains.
I mean, she's obviously a little interesting in this race, but once again, I don't
5
need
to
her
2,
at that short price.
Dropping class. Sublime Hope, first-time starter.
You know, this horse is actually a half to like 4 runners that were okay, and the dam was pretty good, the Mark Valesky.
Sydney's Joy debuts as well.
Another Mark Valesky. Love to see those Mark Valeskys. This one does not have much dam side pedigree.
All firsters here to the outside. Little Ragdoll debuts.
Well, I think this is probably the one most likely just because you see Brett Calhoun, and a trainer can win with a bug rider here.
Randy Morse with a first-timer flirting again.
Not taking any money and not much pedigree.
And then also eligible gets in. Pick Me Up at Midnight, who has had 2 starts against better but done very little.
Got a lot of speed.
Very,
not a lot
very,
of stamina.
very brief.
Yeah, the stamina. Maybe if they run
speed.
like 2 furlong Archie bred races, he could be good.
So if anyone is, Mig, who's touting himself looks-wise here for this finale?
Well, I mean, one of your favorites, very cosmopolitan. The 4 looks outstanding on the racetrack, makes a lot of sense on paper as well, dropping in class. Ron Marquette having a tremendous meeting like we talked about. I'm with Andy, though. I think that I wouldn't be surprised pretty much if almost anybody won here. I won't say everybody, but then we'll go towards the the middle of the field. The 8, Devilish Gal, also dropping in class. This horse ran actually okay on debut. Made a kind of bit of a middle move, a rush up, and then flattened out. With the drop in class, race under her belt, could take a step forward. The 10, Sydney's Joy, first-time starter by Mark Valesky. Not taking a tremendous amount of money at 12 to 1, but very well turned out for Tom Swearingen. Really fit looking. Out of the first-time starters, this is the one that caught my eye the most. And then right outside is Little Ragdoll, who is taking money at 5 to 1. You get 7-pound apprentice Joseph Romero. Horse was training elsewhere and then comes in with one good gate work. Was really on her toes in the post braid. Riders got the feet kicked out now. It's usually a sign a rider wants a horse to relax. They put their legs around them, take them out of the stirrups, because jockeys ride with much shorter stirrups than an average equestrian, and that's to be more aerodynamic and also to be able to use their body weight to help control a horse a little bit. If they were riding long, they would lose both that aerodynamic factor and just not being as strong. You need a little bit of leverage with some of these horses. Horse looks like she settled in nicely, though. I was a little bit concerned how amped up she was coming by the stands here the first time, but now on the backstretch, she's like she's settling in nicely. And I think that money is significant, guys.
Mig, thank you. See what happens here to close things out. And no matter what, look, it's been big upsets. This pick 5 is going to be massive to close things out.
Yes.
I believe, well, I'll look it up.
You want me to look it up? I got my phone in front of me.
I think 9,000 is the smallest payout in the pick 5.
Take a look. Will Pace, pick 5, 9,500 with the 4, 10,000 with the 8, 10-3. There's a 4 or 5 with the 13. I don't think that's going to happen. 122,000 with the 10-9-5. That feels like a pool job. Wow.
Get signed up. You can be part of these pick 5s, have a life-changing score with Naira Bets. That $200 deposit match bonus with a match 200 when you punch that in at sign up for new members. Take advantage.
I'm taking a small flyer with the 9, just a very tiny bet. There's a lot of runners from that dam, and in this race, why not take a shot at a big price? I probably can't run it all, but I'll do it. But the really good news is we're getting closer. I think within 5 or 10 minutes, they'll probably run this race.
A little behind today. Where the favorite is the 4 for Ron Marquette, one of several class droppers in this field. These are some of these state-bred maiden races, whether it's the maiden special or these maiden claiming, some of the toughest races that at a track that's incredibly tough to handicap anyway. These are probably the toughest to handicap.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, if somebody was young and learning to handicap, do some work on the Oaklawn races because they're really competitive and tough, and not a bad place to try to learn a little bit about handicapping. It's tough. There's no doubt about it. They're highly competitive races, and as the circling continues.
When you were starting out handicapping, did you go back and look at what you may have done wrong or overlooked things in cards that you were handicapping?
I don't think I did it as much when I was really young because I was younger, and I don't think I understood that whole concept of sort of evaluating your work and going back. I would say when I was playing full-time, which was 30 years ago, I did a lot. I tried to reevaluate. What mistakes was I making?
Did you learn a lot from doing that?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I learned, honestly, is I had the propensity to want to be a wise guy, to be picking, goofy horses at big prices that didn't make a lot of sense. And what I realized was that I was stabbing way too much, and it was costing me money, because what happens when you do that is twofold. Your betting horse is just not good enough to win, but you're also missing opportunities. There are going to be situations in there where you probably could have made some money if you were just a little more logical. That's not to say that you're not supposed to, you're supposed to be open to big-priced horses, as I know you are, but you have to be careful. You have to ask yourself, am I really betting this horse because I actually like him and can make a real case for him to win, or I just think I'm being kind of clever here and trying to make, fit a square peg into a round hole? And I think one of the things that I learned when I played full time, because when you play full time, you're fighting the pari-mutuel wars. You're in a war, and you've got to be better than the people you're betting against. And when you make mistakes, it costs you real money, and that's something I talk about with people who have our jobs, my job particularly, handicapping, talking to Aaron. You have got to bet your money, and you have to bet enough money, whatever it is, that you feel some pain when you lose. Otherwise, you're never going to learn the lessons. Yeah. You're never going to learn that. You learn the lesson. I'm being an idiot. I'm betting horses that can't win, and I'm losing money. I'm losing my money, and I'm missing opportunities. You've got to learn that. There's got to be pain. Without any pain, you'll never learn a thing.
There's nothing that will set you straight on a course than getting buried.
Greg, you bet. I mean, a lot of people may not realize Greg bets, and Greg, you put real money into pick fives, and you bet, and I've been with you, and you've made some great scores. But you got to know how much it hurts to lose and to stop making those mistakes. And everybody makes mistakes in this game, but you've got to bet a few dollars. You want to learn this game. And I think people in our jobs that are on the air making suggestions, who people bet. If I give you a 10-to-1 shot and that horse runs like crap, believe me, I lost my money on it too. And it's to me, it's fraud to go on the air and tell people to bet 10-to-1 shots and not bet themselves. That's fraudulent. And I think we all have a responsibility to people that are listening to us to share the pain with them when we're wrong.
9-5 favorite here to close things out. Ron Moquette's Very Cosmopolitan, the 4 in what looks like a wide open race. See how it plays out to finish out this Friday card in Hot Springs. Matt Dinnerman with the call.
All post position number 11. 2 back, flirting again. Hand to the outside post. Pick me up at midnight. Flirting again goes in. And pick me up at midnight to the outside post. 11 races tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. First post about 12:30. We'll see you then. But for now, enjoy this nightcap. Pick me up at midnight. Outside post in the red, white, and blue. He's in. And we're ready to go. And Lyroff in the finale. Pick me up at midnight on the far outside. Gets the first call of the race. Very Cosmopolitan is quick as well. Devilish Gal between that pair. Very Cosmopolitan with a head lead on Devilish Gal down the backstretch run. 1.5 lengths back to Pick Me Up at Midnight. Runs in third. This damsel may fly. Presley's Turner side by side. They're 3 lengths clear of a pair. Honduras Passion, she's a devil woman. Gap of 3 to Palmilla's Bet. Sublime Hope had to take up down the backstretch run. Is dropped back to the third last spot. Flirting again is second to last. And Sydney's Joy is at the back of a strung out group. I'll say 25 lengths from first to 12th as they round the far turn. Devilish Gal on the outside comes looking for the lead, and Very Cosmopolitan has come under a hard ride here. The 2 favorites together, and it's Devilish Gal at this point appears to be going better than Very Cosmopolitan. Devilish Gal at the top of the lane opens up a length. Very Cosmopolitan, though, she's trying hard in the second spot. Devilish Gal has asked for her best now in the final furlong, but Very Cosmopolitan is not going away. Devilish Gal, furlong to go. She's getting leg weary. She had about a length on Very Cosmopolitan, and now she's lost it. Now she's 2 behind, and Very Cosmopolitan opens up. Very Cosmopolitan to break the maiden. Devilish Gal, exhausted in the final 16th, but held second. Presley's Turn was third. Honduras Passion fourth.
They were flying early for this level of horse and the
nobody
8
could
tires. Very cosmopolitan with the word Ron Moquette with another victory.
Yeah, and snatching victory from the jaws of defeat in there as the layoff caught up to the 8 in the late stages.
Ricardo Santana Jr. on board for the victory. We're back with you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern start time on our FS2 coverage. 4 stakes on the card, including the Gotham from New York. It was strapped. Rudy Rodriguez, Ruben Silvera, 7-1 upset in the 6th at Aqueduct today. Game Warden getting back to that Saratoga form off the bench to win the 9th at Oaklawn. How about Sand Devil? 2 New York breds bringing in perfect records to the Gotham. Can Linda Rice get to the Derby with him, or Sacrosanct? Perfect record as well. They'll meet tomorrow in the ABR Race of the Week.